What's up, everybody? It's your man Rev, and you are now tuned in to another episode of Rated Rev, right here on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. Smash that like and hit the subscribe button. You know how we do. From week to week, we bring you that heat. So clear the tape. It's time to eat. Let's get it. Hey, what's up, Buffalo Fanatics? What is going on? What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Grace and peace to everybody out there right now who is joining us live. Welcome to another edition of Rated Rev on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. What's happening to everybody out here, man? So glad to be with you all for another edition. You know, I'm still kind of in my feelings a little bit, not gonna lie, but we'll talk about it. So as you guys hop on in here, do me this favor, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on those bell notifications, and let's get it popping. This is a roll call. Ain't nothing different just because the Bills are in off-season mode. Let me know where you're watching from. What's happening to everybody? Charlie, I see you. What's going on? Let's go, baby. I need to know where everybody's watching me from. To everybody that's live, what's up? This is Welcome Roll Call. To everybody who's watching on the replay, what's happening? Welcome to Rated Rev. And to those who like to digest this via podcast format, what is going on? It's your man Rev. Connor Hanks, I see you. My man Sweat from Indianapolis, Indiana. What's going on, baby? Good to see everybody in here. Adventures with Smiles from Winnipeg. What's up? In 24th NorCal, Northern California, Brooklyn, New York in the house with my man Michael G. Williams. Yo, I am so happy to be here. I am. You know, I was wondering how I was going to be able to come on a little, tonight. I wasn't too sure what type of mood I would be in, but I'm feeling good because I'm with you all. So I got to bring it. You know what I'm saying? I can't be up here, all of my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's all good, baby. I've got you guys with me. K-Dubs in the house. What's happening? Smash that like, everybody, as you hop on in here. John Herring, Riverside, California. What's going on? I see my man Pete talking about, is it September yet, man? You already know it's going to be a long off season. Oh, man, it's going to be long. I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. I was not was not ready for it to end. Was not ready for it to end, but hey, it is what it is. Chris 716, I see you, baby. Roy Collins, cold, snowy Western New York. I'll tell you one thing. Speaking of cold and snowy, I'm tired of the cold weather. I am tired of it. And I'm out here in Texas, and it's not that cold comparatively speaking. I know out there in Western New York, I know it's probably crazy right now. Out here in Texas, it's cold enough where I am. It is it's too cold for my Texas blood. Okay? You know what I'm saying? I'm wearing a jacket on the inside. I can't deal with it. So I'm done with the winter time. I'm done with it. Give me spring right now in January. I know. And when I think about it, man, this is like, oh, this makes it just go by so much slower. Because I got another full month of this mess. I'm done. I don't know how you guys feel out there in Western New York, man, but me out here in Texas, I can't deal with it. I'm ready to move on. I am ready to move on. But one thing I'm not ready to move on is with this Bills team entering the off season. I'm not ready for it. I am not ready for it. You guys know how I felt. I thought for sure this was our year. You know, we hear the Cowboys fans talking about that all the time. Oh, this is our year. This is the year. Well, I really felt that this was a year for the Bills. The Sabres look all right. Okay, I'm not a hockey fan, so I can't really relate. But that's good though. At least there's somebody still playing. Okay. And so hopefully they do a little bit better than the Bills. But nevertheless, man, you know, I just was not ready for it. I thought for sure that this team was Super Bowl bound. I thought they were ready, locked and loaded. I didn't think that there was anybody that could stop them except for themselves. Because, I mean, 13-3 record, right? You can't poo-poo on that. 8-game winning streak going into the playoffs. You can't poo-poo on that. They found a way to win basically all season long, especially the second half of the year. Amidst all kinds of adversity, they always found a way to win. And was it the prettiest? Absolutely not. It was ugly the way they were winning. Ugly. Uncharacteristic when you look at the way they won last year, especially towards the tail end of the year going into the playoffs. Look completely different. I mean, even completely different from the first half or the first few games of the season. They've been gutting out ugly wins. Right? And so even and they've been putting up points. So I'm like, as ugly as it's been, you know, they've managed to find a way. And so I thought for sure going into a divisional round playoff game against the Bengals at home in Highmark Stadium, Buffalo, New York, cold, snowy. I was like, you know what? This team is going to be ready. There's nobody who's going to stop them. Because not only are they fighting for, you know, a Super Bowl, but they're fighting for something more important than themselves. And then, you know, you've got the whole DeMar Hamlin situation that they're riding high on. I just thought that they were going to be able to ride that emotional high all the way through to the end. Well, needless to say, it did not happen. It did not happen. They got their butts kicked. You know what I'm saying? They got their butts kicked. Super chat coming in from a man, Brew Crew Fishing. What's happening, baby? Appreciate the super chat. He says, yo, what's up, Rev? Injuries plagued the team this year. Yeah, I'm disappointed, but not jumping out of the window. Interested, how this team is formulated next year and where drafting efforts are focused. Go Bills. Yo, keep that up there, Evan. I want to keep on reading. Yo, Brew makes some good comments. Keep it back up there real quick. Injuries plagued this team this year. 100%. I mean, we're not using it as an excuse, right? I mean, we really can't. But, you know, facts are not excuses. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the truth. This team had an injury list, you know what I'm saying, as long as, you know, it's been in a while. You know, last year we were pretty lucky on the injury front. But this year we had just been decimated by injuries and by key injuries. And so, yeah, they had to deal with it all year long, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. And in spite of that, they managed to win games. They managed to get all the way to the divisional round of the playoffs and win, go on an 8-game winning streak. I mean, like that's remarkable. You can't take anything away from it. But it's hard not to imagine, what the team could have done had they not been decimated by injuries. But we can't use that as an excuse, and I'm not doing that because, it's not like the Bills were the only team who had to deal with injuries throughout the season and even into the playoffs. It is what it is, and I agree with Brew, saying like not jumping out the window. Of course not. You can't. Now, are you upset at how they lost? Absolutely. Is there room for criticism? Oh, you better believe it. And we're going to talk about it tonight too. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, is there room for optimism? Yeah, sure. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody's jumping out the window yet. I know I'm not jumping out the window. Am I getting closer? Am I getting closer to the window? I may be getting a little closer. You know what I'm saying? But no, I ain't jumping out. I definitely am interested, though, to see how this team is formulated next year and what they're going to do in the draft. We're going to talk about all that, man. I don't know about the draft just yet. We'll see. It is around the corner, but I'm not quite ready to really digest the draft yet. I haven't even gotten into prospects and all that kind of stuff. Because I wasn't ready for it. I really wasn't. But we're going to talk a little bit about it going forward. So, man, I appreciate that, Brew Crew, for that super chat and those comments, man. So, yeah, here we are. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. On the outside looking in, right? Sitting at home, watching 4 more teams go at it that much closer to their dreams and aspirations of reaching the Super Bowl. Hey, it happens, right? Not everybody can go. Not everybody can make it. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. It is what it is. I do want to get some things off my chest, though. If this was the Rico report, you know what I'm saying? It would be say it with your chest. You know what I'm saying? But I got a rant, okay? So I'm going to rant. What's going on, John? He says, yo, what's up, Rev? Let's get a therapy session going. You know what? I don't really have a whole lot more to add, right? You know what I'm saying? Like a whole lot to really talk about as far as the game is concerned that hasn't already been spoken of. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys have heard it, you know what I'm saying, ad nauseum by now. There's really no reason for me to rehash it, to go down memory lane and all that kind of stuff. It is what it is, right? Now, if you would have caught me like right after the game, oh man, I was heated. So just go back and check my Twitter feed, okay? Because I was doing some crazy emotional tweets. You guys know how I am by now, right? Yeah, this is what it is. This is who I am. I'm an emotional guy. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and sometimes it gets me in trouble. But hey, it is what it is, man. That's just who I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm an emotional guy. So go check those out. I was pretty out there. Have I come down off the ledge a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. I'm still out there a little bit, and we'll talk about it. But I do have a rant and a few bones to pick real quick. And let me just preface this by saying this. Hey, this show, I'm glad that you guys are joining me live because what I'm going to do, and I think what Evan has done so far is, we dropped the link to the show in the chat because I want to hear from you, not just, your comments in the chat, but I'm giving you guys an opportunity to come on live with me. I'm gonna give you a chance to come on live with me, share your thoughts, share your opinions, share your emotions, your feelings, all of that kind of stuff with me live tonight. So get ready, buckle in, put your seatbelt on. It's gonna be a long ride. I'm gonna tell you right now, too, man. I am not putting a timer on this show. Okay, all right. That's another way for me to say that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this could be, a long show because there's a lot that we're going to talk about tonight. I want to hear from you all. Definitely. I've got a couple of guests that are joining me too. And so we're just going to talk. We're just going to talk tonight and get everything off of our chests. Okay. We're going to air out some dirty laundry about the Bills going forward. And so just buckle in. Just buckle in and get ready for it. Okay. If you feel like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? Hey, if you want to, pop out and pop back in, it's all good. It's all good. But I just want to let you guys know right now that this show might be a little bit longer than anticipated or than expected. You know what I'm saying? But I've got to get this off my chest. So anyway, back to my rant. Let me open up by saying this real quick, man. Let me see how I can talk about this. You know, this was a tough loss, right? The Bills have faced tough losses before. I mean, if you go and look at the thumbnail, right? This show, how can the Bills get over the hump? And you look at those images right there, those still images. You see Stephon Diggs with his hands on his helmet. The Chiefs game, AFC Championship 2020. Then you see Josh Allen with his hands in his pocket looking up in the white jersey, right? Last year, playoff loss, heartbreaker in the divisional round against the Chiefs again. And then on the far left, you see Josh Allen on his knees, head just down in despair in the snow this year against the Bengals when nothing went right. Team got destroyed, basically. This team has faced 3 straight seasons of heartbreaking playoff losses. Heartbreaking fashion. And expectations for this team, for me at least, let me speak for me. My expectations for this team have changed. Okay? No longer am I a fan of the drought era Bills. You remember that? You remember how we were just so desperate for a win, just so desperate for a playoff appearance. 17-year drought. And when we finally got it, we were just so thrilled, right? So thrilled. But sometimes what can happen is when you've gone so long without something, as soon as you get it, you're willing to do whatever it takes to keep it and to hold on to it. Even at times when it's ugly and when things aren't going right. And my expectations for this team have changed dramatically. And they changed along with the standards of this team. I'm so glad at what Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott have brought to this organization over the past, 5 years. They have completely changed the standard of this team. They've gone from basement dweller, laughing stock of the NFL to legitimate Super Bowl contenders. And like McDermott would say, playoff caliber, the championship caliber. We've witnessed that in the past several years. So the standards of this team have changed. And along with those standards being changed, my expectations of the team have changed as well. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Because this team is a championship Super Bowl contending team, my expectations will no longer drop below that bar. And so when this team has 3 back-to-back-to-back playoff losses in the fashion in which they have, I am not going to be happy about it. I'm not going to clap it up. Go team. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say, well, gosh darn it, we'll get them next year, guys. We always have next year. It's a great season. The Bills finished, X, Y, and Z on their season this year. The Bills finished 13-3. They went to the divisional round. Do you know how many teams, Rev, would love to be in that? You know how many fans would love to have a team they can root for like that? You know what? That's garbage. You know what? Yeah, though that may be the case, I want to puke at that. Because that sounds so much like the drought era. Right? Or you're just happy. You're just so content just to have made it. You know what I'm saying? You're just so happy to have made it. It's like when you're in school, you're in high school, right? And you're coming into high school and as a freshman, and you got all these zits on your face, you know what I'm saying? And you haven't really had your glow up moment yet, you know, and you have no friends. You're not popular. People look at you a certain type of way, you know. But a couple of years into your high school, maybe, by your junior year, all of a sudden you have a glow up moment and you look different. Your face cleared up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you grew a little facial hair. You know what I'm saying? Ladies, maybe, you know what I'm saying? You just look different. Okay. And now people are looking at you differently. They're like, oh, hey, what's up? What's up? Oh, you know what I'm saying? And you're getting more attention than you used to have gotten. You know what I'm saying? And so you're just happy to get the attention because you've never been there before. You know, that's kind of how it's been. We're just so glad to have been there. But for me, now that we've been there, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to that old zit face guy. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to go back to that. My expectations for this team have risen dramatically. You know what I'm saying? And so I make no apologies about it. Make no bones about it, man. Hey, when the Bills lose the way they lost, I'm going to be highly upset. I'm going to be frustrated. I'm going to be emotional. And I'm tired of certain fans who feel the need to interject their opinions about how another fan should react. Oh, you're being emotional. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. Oh, you're overreacting. Oh, you know what? Stop all that holier than thou stuff. Okay, cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it all out. Ain't nothing wrong with it. And then for those who like to look at the team for what it is and are not these eternally optimistic people and see certain things that happen on this team and want to critique those things, to have those other fans say, hey, you know what? Stop being so negative. Or why are you always critiquing? Why are you look. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You choose to look at the team and clap them up. You're just so happy that to be in the dance, to have the attention. I, for one, I've been looking at some of these glares, some of these blemishes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, no, forget all that. I'm happy that we are where we are, but I'm not content to stay here. I want more. I expect more. I expect better because my expectations have changed along with the standards. Is there moments when I get overly emotional? Yeah, sure. But let me vent. You know what I'm saying? Let us fans vent for a second. They can't say a word. Can't say a word without people having to feel the need to interject and burst your bubble. Forget all that nonsense, man. Everybody fans differently. It's all good. At the end of the day, we're still Bills fans. You feel me? I'm glad you guys let me get that off my chest, man. I feel like, I had to get on my soapbox a little bit, man. I had to get that off my chest because, there's a contingency of people, man, who just don't let you do what you do. But I'm going to do what I do anyway. Anyway, enough of that. Rev rant over. Okay? Rev rant over. I'm glad you guys let me do that and get that off my chest. But, let's keep it moving. All right? I'm going to tell you this right here. This show is not going to be doom and gloom. It's not going to be all that. But we are going to have what I like to call, those come to Jesus meetings. You know what I'm saying? Where we're going to have a conversation. We're going to come together. We're going to look ourselves in the mirror, have ourselves a gut check, and have those real hard, heart-to-heart conversations about this team, about the expectations of the team going forward, some of the changes that need to be made. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about all that. And so if you are of the eternally optimistic variety, you may want to check out, okay? You may want to check out because there's going to be some things that we're going to talk about here, and it may get ugly. You may not like it, but I think these conversations need to be had. I know there's a couple of you, a couple of guests that I have right now, man, that they've got some stuff to get off their chest, and they're going to talk about it because there's some things, man, about this team that I just don't know about. Okay? And we're going to get into it here shortly. So stay with me. Stay with me. But if you don't like quote unquote negativity, then this may be your time to to exit a little bit. All right, because we're gonna get real. We're gonna get real in the field. Okay. So anyway, but before we get into all that, I do want to talk about some news that's been going around the NFL. So let's take a look at some breaking news. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. If you have not already heard about it, Frank Reich becomes the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Frank Reich. Now, I know that might have burst the bubbles of a lot of people who are hoping that Frank Reich would still be available in the event there came an offensive coordinator position open at One Bills Drive. Unfortunately, he was scooped up by the Panthers, and now he is the Carolina Panthers head coach. And I want to know what you guys think about that hire for the Panthers. And what I want to do is I want to bring on one of my guests because I want him to chime in a little bit about this one. There's another guest I got. Hey fam, I want him to hold on a little bit because I got some stuff that he's going to talk about. I know he got to get off his chest. But let me see here. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. If you holler, let him glow. Let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. All right, my man, Kev Syracuse. Are you ready, baby? Thumbs up if you're ready. You ready? All right, I'm gonna get my man Kev Syracuse on because I want his opinion real quickly, and he's gonna talk about some other stuff a little bit later. But I want to get his opinion real quickly about this Carolina Panthers job now that is being filled by Frank Reich. Kevin Syracuse, what's up, baby? Welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. After a few days, I'm going through the 5 stages of grief, and I think I'm almost there. The article helped. That was very therapeutic. If you guys haven't checked it out, it is. I'm going to warn you, it's a little bit longer, but I think it's worth the read. And it did the trick for me, at least. I was up all night writing it, and I woke up this morning, and I was like, you know what? I feel better now.
That's good. So that was a little therapy for you as well. Kev, about this Panther, and we're gonna talk about. We'll get into the article and certain aspects of it here in a little bit. But talk to me about Frank Reich going to the Carolina Panthers to be their new head coach. Man, initial thoughts. What were your initial thoughts when you heard about that?
Well, like you were just saying, my first thought was, well, there goes the thought of Frank Reich being the offensive coordinator for the Bills. To be honest, I really haven't thought about it that much from the Panthers' perspective. Other than that, I know they wanted to get more experience because Matt Rule was a rookie head coach, and that didn't work out too well. So they wanted to bring someone in with some tenure, at least tenure within the NFL. Mm-hmm. And I think Frank Reich is a good hire for them, trying to get their offense back on track. I think they're really a quarterback away. And obviously they need a lot more pieces, but I think if they can get a quarterback figured out, then they're going to be in that much more. They're going to be in that much better shape.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, man. I like Frank Reich. I like him a lot. Just going over his coaching record. I mean, 5 years with the Indianapolis Colts. He's over 500, man. He's over 500 coach. 40-33-1 was his record with the Colts. He had 1-2 postseason record. So Frank Reich, I mean, he comes with a lot of experience. I think that for him, he just dealt with a lot of bad quarterback decisions. Now whoever was in charge of that, I don't know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There was, I think, talk that he, was pulling for Carson Wentz to get there, and then Carson Wentz got there, and he was garbage. And then I'm not too sure who was responsible for bringing in Matt Ryan. I don't know if Reich was pounding the table for him or if that was Irsay. I don't know, but he just hasn't had a lot of good luck at the quarterback position, which ultimately, ended in his exit in Indy. But I still think he's a very good head coach, and so I'm interested to see what he does in Carolina, who at the moment doesn't really have a quarterback to speak of. So I don't know, man, but I'm interested. I think he's going to be very good for that organization. Do you have it? What do you think expectations for Frank Reich going in?
like I said, I haven't really thought about it too much just because I've been
Yeah,
so absorbed with the
by
Bills state of
the Bills.
things and
Yeah,
our offensive coordinator situation. So to be honest, I would have to really look at their
yeah.
depth chart and their stats and everything. Um,
Are you jealous?
Slightly, yes, yeah. I would say if you want to turn it into the
Why are
Bills'
you? All right, let's do that.
coordinator
Let's do that.
talk,
Let's do that. Let's do that, Kev. Let's do that. All right. Why are you jealous that the Carolina Panthers scooped up Frank Reich?
again, I think it just comes down to experience, and we knew what we were getting when Ken Dorsey was hired. And as much as a lot of us want him fired, let's
Mhm.
not forget last year at this time. Well, probably a little bit later, like in March, April, May, we were all advocating for Ken Dorsey. Everyone wanted Josh's guy, right? Ken Dorsey
Yeah,
was a quarterback's coach, and it's like, come on, hire within house. Josh loves him, so I love him, right? And
yeah,
now everyone's calling for his head. So it's funny how times change things, you know? But I think the thing that we didn't realize last year in the offseason was that Ken Dorsey was a rookie. I mean, we realized it, but we didn't actually realize some of the deficiencies that a rookie offensive coordinator might face. And
yeah,
sure enough, we saw those progress throughout the season. And it really pains me to say this, but he got worse as the season went on.
yeah, yeah.
So, in terms of Frank Reich, sorry, I just want to answer your question. I think the reason why I wanted him to get a shot at least at the Bills offensive coordinator position, and I think for other people too, is again just he has the experience. He's been around the league for a while. I mean, he's played with the Bills before, so we have that connection for sure. And I think he just balances the passing game with the running game well. And I think that he can work with his quarterbacks. I mean, that was the year that he took Nick Foles and Carson Wentz
Right.
to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, it was.
So Carson Wentz went out hurt, and then Nick Foles won the Super Bowl.
But now
Frank
you
Reich
know.
was
But now
out.
you know. People say, well, that was Doug Peterson. That's
True.
Doug Peterson's offense. You know, whatever. You know, they like to say that. Well, I don't know. All I know is that I think he's a good coach, and I think he has a lot of potential and a lot of experience. I, for one, was hoping, you know, and that's kind of bad, right? You hope he doesn't get a head coaching job because you know he deserves it, right? So you know he deserves that. But I was kind of hoping that, you know, he would still be available, you know, in the event the Bills decided to part ways with Ken Dorsey. But I will say this, you know, back to your point about Ken Dorsey, I agree, man. Like at the time, it made a ton of sense, right? I mean, I don't know anybody who was saying like no, forget Ken Dorsey, we need somebody else. I mean, because it made sense with Brian Dable's exit. You wanted continuity to stay there, right? You wanted there to be some continuity. Josh had been in the same offense for a number of years, and you didn't want it to change. And so Ken Dorsey there being groomed by Brian Dable, at least supposedly, that's what we thought he was being groomed by Brian Dorsey. It made sense. And then when you started to hear that Brian Dable, when he went to the Giants, was trying to snag Ken Dorsey to be his offensive coordinator, I think that even put more pressure on Sean McDermott and to make a decision on whether or not to keep Ken Dorsey, to promote him or to let him go. And then Josh Allen's sign of approval, you know, it just sealed the deal. And it made sense at the time because you look at it and you're like, you know what, all right, continuity there, going to be running probably virtually the same offense, not going to be a whole lot of differences in there, a lot of carryover, smooth transition. At least it should be, right? And so it made sense at the time. And then you thought he would throw in some wrinkles. But I don't think anybody, at least I didn't think, that over the course of the season, he would look so vanilla. Like the offense would look like it looks this year. And 1 year, I mean, being a first year coordinator or not, I don't understand because it's not like he's coming in off the street and he's trying to install his own offense. I mean, this he was basically groomed by Dorsey in this offense for years. He's familiar with these players, familiar with Josh Allen, familiar. So I'm like, I expected the learning curve to be shortened because of how he was groomed within the offense already. I did not expect it to be lapses and questions, like we have right now. And so When I look at him, man, I'm like, golly, he really just he really looked bad at times. And I know people will be like, like, Rev, what are you talking about, man? Look at the stats, right? The people want to look at stats and compare the stats to last year and all the look. Stats be doggone, right? I mean, because you can make stats look however you want to. At the end of the day, man, I think Josh Allen covers a lot of problems. He makes a lot of people look better than they really are. Okay. You remove Josh Allen from the equation, this offense does not look nearly as good as it did. Okay. It's Josh Allen is probably 95% of his offense is what I would give, him the credit for. Minus Josh Allen, it's crap. Okay. And I don't like it. I didn't like the way it looked at times. A few weeks into the season, it looked good, but I would say probably at the second half of the Green Bay Packers game, Kevin, you probably agree with me. That's when it kind of went downhill. Things started to look different. Maybe teams started to figure them out a little bit and it played them differently. But regardless, man, it just looked completely different. And I've got tons of questions, man, and I want answers. I want answers because I don't know what happened. I really don't. And I don't want to get ahead of myself because we've got plenty of time to talk about that. Okay, we got plenty of time to talk about it. And I'm gonna bring my man Silas in here a little bit later, and we're just gonna hash it all out. Okay, so put a pin right there about the offense and Ken Dorsey, and we're gonna revisit it here a little bit later. Other news around the league: Nate Hackett. Nate Hackett joins the New York Jets to be their offensive coordinator. The only thing that I have to say about this is I wonder, Kev, if it's another ploy or another attempt to try to lure Aaron Rodgers away from the Packers. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, that's when he's had his most success, when he was an offensive coordinator, and
Yeah,
he was the Bills' offensive coordinator, and I wasn't that impressed with him, but
yeah,
he did get better as time went on throughout his NFL tenure, and then we saw him come to a crashing halt as
yeah.
a head coach in Denver.
Horrible.
So, some people are meant to be coordinators, other people are meant to be coaches, and some guys just can't blend the two together. And maybe
Yeah.
that was Nate Hackett. So maybe this is what he needs to get the ball rolling for him. The one thing that I'll say about that, though, is the Jets need to find a quarterback, because if they want Nate Hackett to run that offense with
Hmm.
Zach Wilson, they're going to run him out of town just like Denver did.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know. Um, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is gonna. I don't know if that's gonna be a serious thing. You know what I'm saying? I think people are just trying to connect the dots. Um, so I mean, but yeah, I will say this though about the Jets. They are just a quarterback away from being legitimate AFC East, contenders. Like you just insert a slightly above average. I'll tell you this: insert a Tua Tagovailoa into the Jets, right? With their weapons on offense, their tough defense, and I think that the Jets are right there, man, nipping at our heels, just like the Dolphins were this year. And so, if they can figure it out, because you look at Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Brees Hall coming back, offensive line, the defense, they got weapons, man. And so all they need is just that quarterback piece. And hopefully Nate Hackett as an offensive coordinator. Well, I wouldn't say hopefully. Hopefully for Jets fans, right? As an offensive coordinator, they can fix some things and get that thing moving in the right direction, trending upward. The next piece of news, man, that I want to bring on, that I want to talk about, and for this piece, Kevin, I'm gonna put you in the background, and I'm gonna bring you back on here a little bit later. All right, and I'm gonna bring on another one of my guests here to talk about this because I know he's been chomping at the bit. All right, Kev.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll fire it up about Dorsey and Frazier later
Oh
on.
yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. All right, Kev. I'll see you in a little bit, man. All right. So now this next piece of news, man. Oh man. Oh my gosh. The Buffalo Bills. We've been talking about like we've all been anticipating changes being made, right? We've been anticipating it. What type of changes are the Bills going to make? Well, they made a change today, and the Buffalo Bills decided, kind of out of left field, in my opinion, they decided to fire their safety coach, Jim Salgado. Jim Salgado, man. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what was up with that decision. I really don't. because this is like scapegoat season, right? So when the heat's turned on a little bit, from the top, it's just gonna go all the way down. So if there's some heat on Sean McDermott, you better believe he's gonna deflect and put that heat on somebody else. All right. And so you look to your coordinators, and then you go down to your position coaches. But maybe they're going from the bottom up instead of the top to the bottom. Okay. And so they decided to go from bottom up and let go of their safety coach, Jim Salgado, which I just don't. How can you, under the circumstances, you lose Micah Hyde, all pro, lose him for the majority of the season. Jordan Poyer sustained an injury, played all year virtually, hurt, very hurt, limping. And then we dealt with the DeMar Hamlin situation, right? And then the Jaquan Johnson situation, he just wasn't really up to snuff, right? Bring in D. Marlowe. But like that safety position, man, outside of Jordan Poyer, but you look at the injuries, man, like I just find it hard to believe that he would be responsible for that. The safety position of all positions on the team, and that's not to say that they won't make any other changes, but really that's your first one, the safety coach. You're looking at you're evaluating the team over the course of the season and in the postseason, and you decide that your safety coach was not coaching up to snuff. I don't know, but I think that's crazy. I don't know about that. But I'm gonna bring on another brother, man, because I know he's got something to get off his chest, and I want him to talk about it. My man, all I need you to do is give me a thumbs up when you're ready. You ready? All right. My man, Silas Whittle. What's up, Silas?
I'm hurt, Rav.
Why you hurt, Silas? Why you hurt, man? Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
Man.
Talk to me about first of all, talk to me about Salgado first, and then we'll get to the season.
How you fire him? He's running his fourth and fifth safety out there. How are you firing this guy? You didn't fire the defensive line coach.
Yeah.
You didn't fire the offensive line coach.
Talk.
You didn't fire the play caller.
Talk.
The coordinator who, for some reason, has not adjusted since week 2 of the regular season. I mean, I don't understand how do you fire? This is the guy. This is the guy you go and fire. I need answers. Like I've seen the press conference for 3 years now.
Yeah, right.
I've seen the McDermott press conference. I've seen the Brandon Beane press conference for 3 years now. And year 1, we were ahead of schedule. 2020 AFC champions, no problem. We'll fix it. We'll fix the old line. We'll get an edge rusher and we'll be back. 2021 didn't get the edge rusher. Get to the divisional round and lose in 13 seconds because somebody forgot to tell Tyler Bass to squib kick the ball. And the defensive coordinator only had 2 plays ready for what was supposed to be only 8 seconds left on the clock. So you mean to tell me this is a 60-year-old man who has played for the greatest defense of all time, the 85 Bears, has been a head coach, has been a defensive coordinator for a very long time, forgot more football than you and I will ever know. And he can't come up with one more play to get us off the field. You got to defend 45 yards of grass to not give Kansas City an opportunity to kick a field goal and get to overtime. Rev, we went into that game with the number 1 rated defense.
I know.
Against the pass, it was the number 1 rated defense, the number 1 overall defense.
Yeah. And
we gave up 42 points, 36 in regulation.
Yeah.
How is this man still here? How?
Bro, look, I wish I had the answers, man. I really do. I have no idea. Because that just really makes 0 sense, man.
And it's all brown in here today. It's all brown. It's all brown today, right?
you got to go in the dark one, man. You can't go light today, man. Yeah, it's all like it doesn't make any sense, man. Like I expected so much more from Frazier in the defense. And coaches really, man, in those situations.
I've never seen it.
And I just don't understand though, like how you decide after looking at this, right? After looking at what happened and the way in which the team lost, you decide that the reason the team lost is because your safety coach, like that's the guy you want to get rid of. Like I don't get it, man. I seriously do not get it. And I'm trying to make a post, man. I'm trying to bring some images up here. Oh man, Anthony, I don't know about that, bro. But it kind of makes you wonder, though, right?
I think that's one of my homies from the Twitter Spaces, man.
Oh yeah,
bro. We've been talking about this since the game, Brad.
Yeah,
like I don't get it. And somebody put a comment in here that said we need to fire Eric Washington. Yes, he should have been the first one going.
Okay.
Shaq Dawson, first round pick.
Uh-huh.
Gregory Rousseau, first round pick. AJ Epinesa, second round pick.
Yeah.
Boogie Bags from second round pick. AJ Epinesa didn't even have a hurry against Cincinnati. He didn't have one pressure.
And I don't want to talk about that, dude. I've been so unimpressed by that man, by Epinesa. Like I really have no idea like what's going on there. It's bad. It really is bad. Hey Evan, go ahead and remove that for me if you can. I'm trying to there. Thank you, man. I'm trying to upload some images, man, just to kind of drive this point home a little bit, because I'm just confused, dude. I'm confused. Like I just don't understand how this team could lay not just one egg, not two, but 3 eggs in the postseason. Make it make sense, bro.
Rev, how do we have a defensive head coach, a defensive coordinator who is widely regarded as one of the best defensive minds in the game? How is it that we have these men in charge of this defense and we give up 36 against the Chiefs in regular? We give up 38 in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. We give up 42 the year after in the same game in the divisional round against the same opponent.
Mm-hmm.
You blow a 16-point lead, 16-0 to the Houston Texans in Josh's second year. And then this year in the playoff, the divisional round, the wild card round, 31.
Yeah.
To Skylar Thompson. Now, granted, we really played like crap. We turned the ball over a lot. We gave them a great field position. That's a McDermott problem.
Yeah, I agree.
And against this team, we drafted Kyer Elam to play man coverage, to be a guy that can play man coverage on one side versus, we can teach him zone.
Right.
And Trey White, why didn't you change up? We didn't compete. Rev, we didn't compete. Rev, if we lost 24-20, okay. If we lost 24-17,
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
It was 27-10, and Rev, that game they could have scored. They could have scored 47 if they.
They really could have. They
took their foot off the gas, man. We couldn't move the football. We
were nowhere in that game from kickoff. Nowhere in that game at all. I'm gonna bring. I got the images uploaded, man. So I'm since we're talking about this, man, and some of these issues and defense or whatever, I'm gonna throw these stills up, and you let me know what you think about.
I know you're gonna throw up the 3rd and 4. I know it's coming.
All right,
let me go ahead and take my little sip now.
Look. All right.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right, give it thoughts, man. Thoughts on this one. Okay. We don't really need to have. We don't need to go that far back, right? But hey,
I can look at this and I can tell you right now, you got 3 bunch receivers on one side, and we have 2. You have Levi Wallace. I don't know where he is. He looks like he's in Kentucky. He's not anywhere near the stadium right now. Dude, like, what are we doing? We're not even lined up close enough to even affect the play.
Nowhere near.
Like, no.
We up here defending the sideline. Defending the
sideline.
And they got timeouts.
They got timeouts. Oh my God.
All right. So 13 seconds. You guys remember that, right?
Oh my God.
I told you guys, look, I told y'all at the beginning of the show, if you are an eternal optimist, you may want to check out, because we're going to have some hard conversations right now about some of the things that are happening. You know, I thought after this, fam, I thought they would have learned their lesson. There's no way this coaching staff, defensive coaching staff, Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier, Eric White, all of them, there's no way that they let that happen again, especially not in the playoffs. But oh my gosh, lo and behold, if 13 seconds wasn't enough,
I know what's coming.
If 13 seconds wasn't enough, and we hear Sean McDermott talking about, we're gonna learn from this. And look, fam, how long is it gonna take for you to learn from this? How you gonna learn? How many times are you gonna keep on making this mistake and talking about learning? 3rd and 4th.
Rev, I don't even see the other corners lined up.
They not even in the frame, fam. They not even in the frame. What in the heck is going on with this right here? 3rd and 4 in the snow. You know what I'm saying? Look, you got Trey White playing so far off. The other corner, they not even in the frame, bro. Not even in the frame. You got Jamar Chase up top. T. Higgins in the slot, next to Tyler Boyd. And then I think that's their tight end on the bottom of the screen, right? I think that is.
Yep.
Where are the defenders, bro? 4 yards. 4 yards. And that's the play.
Somebody put it out there, man. They said Vic Fangio. Hey. Vic Fangio, Lovie Smith. Somebody with some aggression, but we'll talk about this. Is like, Rev, it's 3rd and 4. Why aren't you pressed up against these guys? Compete. Compete.
Bro, you know what? Somebody had mentioned something on Twitter to the likes of, like, they're throwing out like these analytics, right? About why they would, play, kind of at the sticks or a little bit off the sticks, behind this, past the sticks in that situation. Something to the effect of, and it really don't make sense to me, man. I think it's more difficult for them. I can't remember how they said it. I got to look up the tweet. But anyway, nevertheless, they were looking at stats to say that to defend it, right? To defend it. And I'm sitting there looking like, okay, but it's 3rd and 4. They in the red zone. You're in the snow for one, okay?
So that's going to decrease your ability. That, like, even if you feel like you can come up and drive interrupt them at the catch point, or make a play on the ball from an off position. Yeah. You're not, because you're not going to get you can't push off in the snow. You can't. And then my thing was, like, you've got a cornerback in Trey White who's coming, who's still kind of favoring his repaired ACL, right? In the snow. Okay. He is what is he about? What would you think? 7 yards.
2-3 yards past the sticks.
Yep.
Okay, on 3rd and 4 against Jamar Chase, big body, physical wide receiver. Okay,
he can't tackle him anyway. But
facts. Yeah. And so you think that having Trey play this coverage right now, he's going to be able to drive on the ball and keep the play in front of him and make a tackle on Jamar Chase, who's a lot bigger and a lot stronger than Trey White is. And then considering the fact that they're in the snow and Trey White's coming off that injury. Who in the world thought that was okay to do?
Clearly,
I don't care. I don't care. I don't
McDermott.
care. I don't care if you're afraid of them going up the top and scoring. You don't want to just give them an easy first down like this, and they're already in the red zone, fam. Like this makes no sense. And then like even at the play, I think Jamar Chase caught the ball maybe a couple of yards behind the sticks, and Trey may have gotten a hand on him, but by then, fam, it was too late.
Yeah,
It's too late.
He ran right through Trey. He ran right
through him. And then on top of that, suppose Trey White makes a stop. Suppose Trey White and they gang tackle Jamar Chase short of the sticks, a yard short. You mean to tell me for 1 second that you don't think this is 4-down territory for the Bengals? The way they've been marching down the field, you think for 1 second that they're not going to go for it on 4th and short and can't get a first down? Come on, man. Like, that don't make no sense. Press that man, make it hard for him, and if you get beat over the top, you just get beat over the top. So what? Okay? But don't get it. You're giving these guys easy receptions, easy first downs. It makes zero sense for me whatsoever. Anthony English comes in with a super chat. He says, yo, I've been saying this for years now. McDermott's brain stops working in big playoff games. They said the prevention defense in Kansas City was McDermott's idea. You know what? I tend to agree with you, man, that he has a major brain fart in the playoffs. When he's going up against a contender, you know what I'm saying? He and the rest of the coaches, they fart all over themselves. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. Like, in those situations, you don't play that type of a defense. You're playing not to lose. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Rather than playing to win. I don't get it, fam. I don't get it, Silas. Press that man. Press that man.
The stats show, Red. When we went man coverage, when we manned up, it was Joe Burrow was 2 of 7 for 14 yards. 2 of 7 for 14 yards, man. Bottoms up, guys.
Come on, man. Like what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? And I don't know how much longer we can continue to deal with this and talk about it, you know, as if, it's okay. You know, golly gee, guys, we'll get him next year. You know, this is okay. Stop being so negative. Are you kidding me right now? You know what I'm saying? Like you have to have these conversations. You have to look at this stuff and call it for what it is. It's hot garbage. And for 2 years straight, at least 2 years, they have lost on account of horrible coaching decisions and the worst moments of the game. They talk about putting the players in the best possible position to succeed. Well, they haven't done it in 2 years straight in the biggest moments, in the biggest games of the season. They have whiffed. And we can talk about players and lack of execution and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, when you draw up this, what do you expect them to do? And unless you got some players who are like, man, forget that. Unless Tremaine Edmonds says, here's that call, he's like, man, we ain't running that. Forget that. forget what coach is talking about. Get up on them and press. Unless you're gonna have some dogs who are willing to do that and go against the coaching, that's the results you're gonna get, man. That's what we've gotten for 2 straight seasons in the postseason, and it's why we're sitting here with the Super Bowl contending team on the outside looking in, scratching our heads, wondering what happened. Having Isaiah McKenzie and Stephon Diggs talk to each other about, man, how does this keep happening? I'll tell you how, right there, coaching. And we ain't even got to the offensive side of the ball. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Let me go to the chat, man, and see if anybody in here, man, can provide me with some type of
Somebody put in the chat the number 5 defense against the rush, against the 27th rushing offense, and we gave up 170. I think 174 yards or something like that. Yep. And this honestly has a lot to do with not just scheme and coaching, but personnel. The personnel is not right. If you're gonna go nickel, you always are gonna be dealing with. If you're going nickel, you're always dealing with a light box. You always are. You're always gonna be at a disadvantage when somebody lines up in a pro set to run the football. So you need big, strong, tall defensive tackles that are going to eat up space and keep your linebackers clean.
Right.
So instead of drafting a 6'2", 6'1", 280-pound defensive tackle out of Houston.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you take a Dexter Lawrence.
Right.
Maybe you take a Christian Wilkins.
Right.
Maybe you take a Jeffrey Simmons.
Right.
They were all available when Ed Oliver was there. All of them. And we didn't.
We got to talk about that, Silas. We have to talk about that, man, because and that goes to Bean. And really, I think
that goes to McDermott.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that, yeah, because I think Bean drafts players that fit the scheme and the system of his coaches. He's trusting the coaches to do their thing. All right, McDermott and Frazier, like, this is what I want to run defensively. I need me a 1 tech, right? A space heater, Starler Tule. Then I need me a 3 tech. You know what I'm saying? I need that guy because this is the defense I've run all my life. This is all I know. I need that guy to get in the backfield. So he has to be maybe undersized but really quick off the ball. All right, and then bring him. And what do? They feel that they feel it. That's what Bean did. He gave him Star and he gave him Ed. That's what they wanted. Sean McDermott handpicked Ed Oliver. He did. And what did he go? 10 overall? 10.
9.
No, he went 9. 9 overall. 9 over top 10, fam. Top 10. Undersized defensive tackle who came out brash, cocky as all get out. Talking about can't nobody block me one-on-one, fam. Yeah, you guys remember that what was that video that the Bills would put out, like draft season. They put out this, I think after draft season, they put out this video about I guess like the whole backstory about the draft and how they got to that position. And they were taught, they showed a clip of Ed Oliver, in an interview, at the combine, whatever. They're talking about him and they're bringing up some clips or whatever. And he's like, man, can't nobody block me one-on-one. He comes in just super cocky, arrogant, and he's not dominant. He's not. On occasions, you know what I'm saying? Does he look good? Yeah. But bro, for the most part, man, in my opinion, for a top 10 draft pick, for what we need on this defense, he has fallen woefully short. Woefully short. And I would have loved to have seen other guys like you had mentioned, man, Dexter Lawrence, Jeffrey Simmons. Oh, these big-bodied defensive tackles, man, inside.
Could you imagine Jeffrey Simmons on this defense? Can you imagine Jeffrey Simmons in the middle with Rousseau on the other side and Von Miller on the... I gave Oliver a pass because Starr was terrible.
I did too.
Then Harrison Phillips, I said, well, Harry's back. He's healthy. But Harry's not really. He's not really a nose tackle.
He's not a nose tackle.
Daquan Jones is a nose tackle.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And Ed Oliver has 2.5 sacks, I think.
He still hadn't done anything.
It's time for him to go.
And
he's going to get paid $10.5 million this year.
And
it's time for him to go.
Yes, and I was going to say, I'm glad you said that. And they decided to, hey, you know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get this man's fifth year option. 5th year option, bro. On a guy like this who's not dominant. And I'm sorry, I don't know. A top 10 pick, you better dominate all the time. That's what I expect. That's what I expect. And he hasn't done it. And so, yeah, that falls right in the laps of Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier for bringing in that type of a scheme. And we're going to talk about scheme too, man, here later. I just a lot of things, man, really make no sense to me.
Let me add one more point.
Go ahead.
My issue with Sean McDermott in this as a coach, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to fire Sean McDermott.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the answer right now. I think Leslie Frazier and Ken Dorsey should be gone. People are going to say, oh, Ken Dorsey's got his first year. Yeah, but you ever work with somebody that was so bad at their job that they didn't even deserve to come back the next day?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's like if you work at fast food or something and you send a guy out to go take the garbage out and he's gone for 30 minutes and you go look in the back and dude got a chair in the back by the dumpster sleep. He don't deserve another day on the job.
He don't.
Fire him.
Fine.
We keep drafting these edge guys that are all clones. They're all 6'3", 6'2", 6'4", 270 pounds, average 40 time, average strength, average skill set. And we keep taking these guys because they produced in college. And they're not good.
And that goes back to Sean McDermott's like that's oh man, we need to get into this because that goes back to their whole philosophy defensively, right? Because when you go back to Sean McDermott's years with Carolina, with the Panthers, across his defensive line, and you can already kind of see it. All right, inside, he wants that one tech, right? He had Star. And then he wants that 3 tech, that kind of quick off the snap guy. And I think he was his last name Short? I can't remember the guy that they had. Anyway, and then he wants the power defensive end on one side, right? Who can set the edge, and then the other defensive end, that's the guy that you're bendy kind of pass rusher guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's and he's carrying that over into this NFL passing league, and for how long, man? Like the Bills have not been able to get after the passer. They have no pass rush. The defensive line gets dominated at the line of scrimmage constantly. They get run all over when they go against a power team. They can't hack it. I think it's about time for us to question Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier's philosophy, and maybe some of those things need to change as well. What happened?
I'm sorry, John Herron is killing me over here in the comments.
What did John say?
He said the real miss this year was Bernard. Oh, if you're talking about in the draft, you're exactly right. So we needed offensive line. We needed interior offensive line badly in this draft, and wide receiver. Rev, you can go through the tweets. They're there. You use traits to pick. You use traits when you pick offensive linemen. You use traits when you're picking these defensive linemen, but you don't use it when you pick cornerbacks, and you don't use it when you pick wide receivers. They should have went after Christian. They should have went after Christian. They should have went after Watson.
Yeah.
They should have went after there's this other kid that Carolina ended up getting, Amari Barno, 6'6", 260-pound kid, defensive end out of Virginia Tech. The kid ran a sub 4.40 at defensive end.
Athleticism, man.
And speed that you can't teach coach. A guy how to run fast. You can't teach. You cannot coach that. But you imagine that guy being available after Von Miller goes down. So you got him on one side, causing all type of havoc, running around left tackles, feeding the play to Russo and to Daquan Jones in the middle.
And then didn't Baltimore, and I don't know if this is the same draft. They got Owe.
That was the Russo. That was the Russo draft.
He went right ahead of.
He went right after.
Oh, he went after.
He went after Russo.
That's even worse. Because I thought he went I thought they went just ahead.
Oh wait, no. I think you're right. I think he went right before. And you
can't to me I get Rousseau 6'7", whatever, long arms, big guy, but come on, man. Like when you look at Owe, you look at the speed, 4'4" guy, right? Speed, 4'3",
yeah.
and big, bro. Trade for that guy. Trade up.
I mean, to be fair though, he's been kind of terrible. He has been kind of terrible for Baltimore. But like you say, styles make fights. The scheme is totally different here. So maybe he is better. He is better. Yeah, and we've never gone after a one tech. We've never gone after a true one tech or a true wide, big body wide receiver. Yeah. Like we had the opportunities to go get guys that gave us size, speed, and could win down the field, and we're not doing it.
Remember the year when we passed on DK Metcalf? What Silas is saying is there are opportunities available, man, in the draft, and they've decided to go elsewhere, right? They decided to go elsewhere, and maybe we need to question even their philosophy drafting wise, because they love these character guys, right? They love these guys that fit their mold for this character guy, right? They just And at times,
give me a criminal. Give me a criminal
right.
that can play.
They overlook Some of these guys who may have questionable character, questionable maybe, right? Have some issues, whatever, but are far more talented than the guys that you get that has, maybe traits, and you hope that you can coach them up. That's what they've gotten. They've gotten good boys and good guys who have some kind of talent that you hope you can coach up. Meanwhile, you've got these dudes, man, that are not choir boys, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? But they're tearing it up. Like we have to question all of it, dude. We have to question all of it because this is I don't know how much longer we can go on with like this. Anthony English comes in, super chat. Anthony, appreciate it. He says, yo, crazy how a defensive mastermind like McDermott cannot draft or build a better defense. Makes you wonder. Think we need an offensive-minded head coach. Now, I will say this, man. I mean, I'm not quite now. You catch me after the game. You caught me after the game. I'm like, yo, McDermott needs to go because I was emotional, man. I was done with it, bro. I was done with it. But I'm willing to deal with McDermott so long as he takes care of these coordinators, so long as he handles that situation, right? If he doesn't handle that situation, then he can go too, and So for a defensive-minded guy like that, I'm not really concerned about that as long as he knows how to pick the right guy and knows when to cut ties, when it's time to cut ties and stop, favoring relationship and all that kind of stuff over producing. And people will look at that stuff and be like, well, the Bills have been successful. Oh, let's look at the stats. The Bills have been top 5 defense, a couple of years. None of that stuff means whatever.
Nothing. It means nothing.
It don't mean nothing.
Rev, nothing,
especially in the playoffs. It's not in the playoffs.
There's a tweet that talked about how many yards we gave out. We gave it in the playoffs.
Okay,
it's over 100 points.
I'm glad you brought that up because this is a good segue because we're talking about this defense. We're talking about Leslie Frazier. So take a look at this. Here it is, right here.
Oh my God.
Here's the graphic. The Bills defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier. Look, in the 3 playoff losses, 107 points and 1,403 yards allowed in the last 3 playoff losses. Your defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier, ladies and gentlemen. But then, when I created this, I wanted to add to it, and I threw in Sean McDermott there in the corner. And there's a reason why I threw in Sean McDermott. And that's because there's this debate and this question as to, well, whose defense is Leslie Frazier calling in the first place? Is this Frazier's defense or is this McDermott's defense? Regardless of whose defense it is, you've got a defensive-minded head coach who signs off, at least you would like to assume he does, signs off on every single game plan before it gets installed into practice and all that kind of stuff. As detail-oriented as Sean McDermott makes himself to be, you cannot tell me that he looks at these game plans week in and week out, and especially in the playoffs, and says, oh, that's good. Check that box. Sign off on that, fam. It's good. Let's get it. Good job, Leslie. Let me clap you up, fam. I like that. Come on, man.
That's 35 points and over 400. That's over 35 points and over 400 yards a game in the playoffs. And people want to sit here and try to tell me I'm overreacting and being too emotional because look at the team. They finished 13-3, Rev. The team is a playoff contender, Rev. We've been in the playoffs 5 straight years, Rev. 13-3. You know how many people would love to have that? I don't care about the regular season at this stage in the game. Show me the team that shows up in the playoffs. That's where I'm at right now. When they get in the playoffs, that's where it's at. That's where the rubber meets the road. Because that team that shows up in the playoffs tells me a whole lot more than a 13-3 team in the regular season. I don't care about none of that stuff matters. Records go out the window, stats go out the window. In the playoffs, you better bring your A game. And we ain't got time for these garbage plays, these garbage coaching decisions year in and year out in the playoffs. This is when you're supposed to bring your A game. You're supposed to elevate your game. Players are supposed to elevate the game. Coaches are supposed to elevate their coaching in the playoffs. And how many years straight have we gotten out coached by guys and coaches who have decades of coaching experience?
Leslie Frazier, how many years of coaching experience does he have? Tons. Sean McDermott, come on, man. And they continue to look like they are some high school coaches who don't even belong on the field. That's terrible. It's coaching, man. It goes to coaching. And it's the reason why you've got, a couple of your receivers upset, wondering and asking questions. How can we get to this place? Why does this keep happening? Coaching. And then you've got your all-pro linebacker, Matt Milano, calling the team out as a leader, saying, look, they didn't bring any energy, no juice. I don't know what was going on. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but he did say that the team lacked energy and juice. And then he used the word throughout the week. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, right after that, and the post game conference, here you have Sean McDermott talking about, when it was brought up about what Milano said. Sean McDermott's like, oh, well, I don't think that's what happened. I don't think the team lacked energy. And all the while this is going live, I'm commenting. I'm like, listen to your players, coach. Your all-pro is telling you this team didn't bring it. They didn't bring it. Whose responsibility is that, man? And I'm wondering now if his messaging is starting to fall on deaf ears. I'm wondering if players are starting to question the process instead of trusting it. I'm wondering if he's kind of out of touch to a degree. I don't know, but when you got guys, man, who have been there and done that, and they keep losing in the same fashion, you're gonna have to find a way to get that locker room back. You know what I'm saying? Sean McDermott, this is on you, man. I'm not ready for you to be fired just yet, but I guarantee you that seat better be turned up a little bit. The heat better be cut up a little bit, because I don't know how much longer we can expect this to happen and just be content with being, oh, we're in the playoffs. Oh, we're in the playoffs. Oh, so what? So what? Show me the baby. When are you going to deliver? That's what I want, man.
Rev, there's no reason for these coordinators to come back.
There is no reason.
There's nothing that shows me that they're going to make any changes or any adjustments in the same situation next year.
No.
The regular season is no longer important. This team is well within its Super Bowl window. Josh Allen is 3-4 in playoff games in his career. Sean McDermott is 3-5 in playoff games in his career. There's no reason to bring back Ken Dorsey.
No.
Ken Dorsey had a great offensive scheme in week 1 against the Rams. Josh at the center, play action, roll out, short passes. He threw the whole bag out there.
Yeah, misdirection. That one Gabe Davis touchdown leaked out, got behind Jalen Ramsey. Beautiful
play design.
What happened to it?
I have no idea. And we've been talking about running the football. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. We'll get to Zach's here shortly.
I'm just saying we've been talking about the lack of a running attack, the lack of a rushing attack, the lack of a rushing attack. We go out against Chicago, run for 250 yards, and we forget it again.
That's that dumb stuff.
We forget it again.
That's that stuff that even Brian Dable used to do the same stuff, man. Like the run game's working. Oh, it's sort of like you get scared of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're so pass centric, you get afraid of the fact that the running game is working. You're like, wait, what am I doing? Now let's go back to the past. Let me see if maybe since the team saw us running the ball last week, let me try to fool them and let's just pass it all next week. Let's catch him off guard. It's dumb. It's dumb.
But Rev, we watched Baltimore run the football effectively against this team.
Yes, they did. They did.
None of that.
No.
None of it.
And the Bills have been able to run the ball in spots this year. Now, whether or not that's
Mark Davis put up a comment, man, and that's the truth. There's no. He said something about the Dorsey offense.
It's simple, no screenplays, no motions. Yeah. We'll get into that. We'll touch on the offense here in a little bit. Okay. Let me get to the super chat. Evan, pull it up. From Zach Jennings. Zach Jennings comes in super chat. Zach, I appreciate it. He says, "Yo, does anyone remember Frazier as a head coach in Minnesota? He wasn't the best. Now in DC and Buffalo, seems to be getting worse with time. Yikes. I think, man, like that scheme. I think that scheme, man, is becoming antiquated. Like the only way that scheme really, really works is you have to be done. I'm talking about superior up front. You need, because they talk about it all the time, right? Like you can't be like, they're not going to get out of this nickel, and you have to have pass rush up front with your front four. Be dominant, be able to stop the run and rush the passer with just those four and be able to drop the rest back in coverage. Well, guess what? The defensive line is not dominant. They haven't been dominant since they've been here. There's no pass rush. They can hardly stop the run, especially when they go up against teams who can pound that rock, who have a physical, dominant offensive line. It does not work. So at which point do you decide to scrap the scheme and adjust to the players? Or just change it up? It's antiquated, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. But let me do something else, man. I got to bring in my man. I got to bring Kevin back. I told you guys, buckle in. This show is going to be long because there's a whole lot we got to get off our chest, a whole lot we're going to talk about. So smash that like if you're still in here. Shout out to you guys, man. Hit the subscribe button, and let's keep this thing moving. And at the same time, I still want to give some opportunity for you guys to come on live with me and share your thoughts here shortly. But let me bring in my man Kevin because, we're going to touch on a piece that he wrote here just today. Kevin, what's going on, Kev? Kev, man, you sat here, man. You've listened to us, man, rant about the defense. You've talked about you wrote an article about the Buffalo Bills season, and it's a very good read, and I want everybody to go out there and read it. But I want to touch specifically on the defense, man, on the defensive side of the ball. When you're looking at this defense and what they've put up. You saw the graphic about the playoff stats in the past 3 seasons. Man, first of all, what are your initial impressions of the Buffalo Bills defense performance the past 3 years in the postseason? And then what do you have to say about Frazier's bend but don't break mentality?
I think that it'll only take him so far because when you run into a good team like the Bengals and a smart team, they will figure it out that all you have to do is dink and dunk on this team because the Bills will give up chunks of yards at a time where the Bills want to play back because they're so scared about Tyreek Hill taking the top off their defense like he used to do that they play back every single play now. And a smart quarterback like Joe Burrow will say, oh, wow, look at this. We can hit someone out in the flat for 5 yards, and he can turn it into a 12-yard gain and a first down. And the Bills don't make adjustments. And it's so mind-boggling how they can continue to do the same things over and over. And like you guys were saying, McDermott says, we're going to go back and look at the tape and we're going to learn from this, but they don't learn. I mean, this is 4 straight years that they've got bounced out of the playoffs and 3 straight years where it's been a crushing defeat. I mean, the Texans one was pretty crushing in itself, but we knew we weren't ready, right? Same thing with the AFC Championship game in 2020. It was like, okay, this really sucks, but we're not there yet. We're a little bit young. Kansas City's been here before. Let's reload for next year. Last year was the all-time gut punch. And then, like I said in my article today, Sunday's game was an all-time gut punch because of how the Bills lost. I mean, I'm almost more upset about this loss this year than I was last year because they played their hearts out and they didn't even show up this year on Sunday. So now we're left with more questions this year than we were last year because the only question last year that we had was, should we change the overtime rules? And, there were a lot of different questions along the way. Should they add this to their offense, a pass catching running back, which we'll get into because they did.
Which is the offense. Yeah.
But I mean, the main question last year was, can we change the overtime rules? And everyone was so high on the Bills this year, and they were favored in every single game. They were favored to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen was the MVP favorite. And then it came to a crashing halt. And I don't want to spoil too much of my article, but I sat there in row 1 of the upper deck on Sunday. I was with some friends, but it was cheaper to split up the tickets. So the 2 of them were up top and I was down low. And they left because, everyone was cold and upset. And I sat there in row 1 of the upper deck. I felt like Diggs in Kansas City, just watching the Bengals and their fans celebrate on our field.
Kevin, did you say you rolled one on the upper deck? Or you wrote one?
No.
Okay.
Probably needed the roll one, man. But that,
I should have. But I'm sitting there watching the Bengals and their fans celebrate on our turf. I mean, what happened to that saying, right? We're going to host home playoff games, defend our turf. And they literally come in and take it over. And I didn't even know how to process my feelings because, I was like, do I cry? Do I punch something or someone? Do I yell? Like, do I laugh? What do I do anymore? And I was just so numb that I just sat
Just
there.
sitting there shocked. Yeah.
And then the security guard had to be like, "Hey, you got to leave." And I was like, "Oh, right, yeah, the game's over, the season's over." So
It's a tough way to go out, man.
it was very tough.
Yeah, let me read the super chat real quickly, man. From John. John Wozniak, mortgage specialist, comes in with a super chat. John, appreciate it. He says, "Yo, based on Bean's statements on Dorsey, he will not be fired, and that is concerning. Wasting Josh Allen's prime years so a new OC can learn, crazy." Man, I want to touch on that here, but I'll touch on it shortly. John, I agree. I agree with you about that. That's exactly how I felt coming out of it after I heard Bean's statements. I was like, I don't think they're gonna make any changes, man. The way he was seemingly making excuses for these guys. He made excuses for Frazier. He made excuses for Dorsey. I'm like, dude, they're gonna run it back. They're gonna run it back with these two guys here next year and expect us to digest it and eat this thing and be pleased. I'm not pleased. I hope they don't do that, but I'm getting a feeling that's going to be the case. But we'll talk some more about the offense and wasting Josh Allen's prime years for a new OC. Oh man, we'll get into that. But Kev, back to the defense about Leslie Frazier in the playoffs, and his this bend but don't break mentality, man. Like, what do you have to say about that, man? Like, do you think that scheme, that philosophy is antiquated? What do you think about that?
I mean, like I said, it'll only take them so far because it's bend but don't break, soft zone nickel coverage. And that goes back to something that we've complained about right along, is that they refuse to run anything else other than that nickel. We hardly see three linebackers on the field. And if that's your defense, fine, especially in the playoffs, teams aren't going to be running on you that much. Then again, like you guys said, 172 yards for the 29th ranked rushing offense. That's a different topic. But
real quick, Kev, hold on, because I want to go back to your point, because now it's coming back to my mind. You had mentioned about what Joe Burrow did to the defense, basically just taking what the defense gave them, running the ball, eating up the clock, dinking and dunking all the way down the field. I'm glad you brought that up, because they did to the Bills what I had mentioned.
What we should have been doing right along, right?
What we should have been doing all along, yes, offensively. But I had mentioned this back on the pregame show with Rico. I was like, yo, a key to the game for me is I think the Bills defense, forget the passing game. Forget Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and all that. It's the snow, it's cold weather. Forget all that. I think a surprising thing is you need to stop the run. Stop the run. Stop it. Focus on that. Show them that you're ready, right? That you're not going to sit there and let them just run all over you, because they got three offensive linemen, backup offensive linemen. They're going to try to impose it, or they're going to try to run the ball. They're not going to sit there and let you try to get after Joe Burrow. They're going to get the ball out quick or run the ball. Stop the run. Stop the run. And a way to beat the Bills, a key to victory for the Bengals, is this. You keep Josh Allen in that offense on the sideline. You keep them on the sideline, and you eat up clock, eat up the time of possession. You're probably going to be in a better position to win the game. And what did the Bills defense do? They freaking allowed, they just gave them the game plan. They said, hey, you want to beat us? Here we go. We're going to play off coverage in these situations, and we're just going to let you dink and dunk all the way down the field, because that's how you beat us, and we're going to let you do it. That's that defense, man.
And the thing was, Rev, they were missing 60% of their offensive line, but you would have never known it to the naked eye. If someone were to walk into that stadium, no one would have said, oh, the Bengals are missing three of their offensive linemen, because the Bills just did not get any pressure. And that's due to Leslie Frazier's game plan, but it's also due to the Bengals being smart enough to recognize that and make adjustments and say, hey, let's avoid getting pressure on Burrow by getting the ball out quickly. And for some reason, this team cannot comprehend that themselves. I mean, like we said, the Bengals did what the Bills should have been doing. I mentioned it on a space last week with Kevin Massar. I think you were in there, Whittle, and I said, look, the Bengals don't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They were, I want to say, 30th in sacks, and I said you might look at that and say, oh wow, Josh is going to have a lot of time to drop back and just tee off on this defense because they're playing Eli Apple and Cam Taylor-Britt, a rookie. And I said, but Dorsey and Allen have to make sure that they're composed and they don't get too crazy and don't get too ahead of themselves because that's not going to work all day. And I said, rather use that extra time to survey the field and to read the defense and see what they're giving you. And that's exactly what they did not do again. You know, I kept thinking that this offense was going to get better. I was like, oh, they have to be saving plays and packages and personnel.
Oh, yeah, I remember that talk.
Like, we all thought that.
Like everybody thought that. Everybody thought, okay, they were being conservative. They're just going to bring out this extra playbook, set of plays, and just blow teams out the water in the playoffs. Man, did they they didn't do nothing. It was terrible, man. It was completely awful. And then, Kev, I like what you had mentioned, man. You're just about like some of the decision making in your article about on the defensive side of the ball. Like let's talk about Kyer Elam, dude. Like, so I can see Silas over there just sitting there. He's like shaking his head,
I'm
man.
dejected, man. Like
Silas slumped down in his couch, drinking his wine.
This year, man, like we've been pounding the table for a cornerback 2 on this defense, right? We knew the type that we needed to get. They finally invested a high draft pick on a cornerback in Kyer Elam. Big physical press man cornerback, something that we don't have on this defense. And what did Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier decide to do this year?
Bench him.
They decided to do what, Silas?
Sit him. They decided to sit him. They played Dane Jackson. Dane, I can't find the ball in the air in pass coverage. Jackson, all year long.
Why? And then they're like, Sean McDermott, he's, oh man, we have full trust in Dane Jackson. Dane Jackson was getting abused all season. Well, starting from the Cleveland, he let Jacoby Brissett light him up. Jacoby Brissett, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to poo-poo on Jacoby Brissett, but he got torched. He got torched. Amari Cooper ate him up. And ever since that game, he was getting abused every single week. And you mean to tell me that you still think that he's better than your first-round draft pick, Kyer Elam? And then, for whatever the reason is, and this is, I guess, Sean McDermott's reasoning, we want these guys to develop, and he's press man corner, but we run a zone scheme. Well, then why draft him in the first place? If that's your reasoning, because he's not used to running a zone scheme, then why did you draft him in the first round? You knew who he was coming out of college, press man cornerback. That's your excuse? Is he's not ready to fit into this zone scheme? He needs time to develop. So let's bring in Christian Benford because he has more. But Christian Benford should have been your guy only. Forget Elam. That's a cop-out excuse, man. That's a cop-out excuse. There is no reason why you should not have played this man from the jump. Take your lumps, let him learn. How else is this man gonna learn on the side? He ain't gonna learn on the sidelines. Come on, coach. And for some reason, Sean McDermott has this thing with certain rookies, man. Like he puts them in the doghouse. I don't trust rookies. Blah blah blah. They gotta earn their stripes. This type of thing. You're gonna get fired. You keep that up because this guy is way better than Dane Jackson. Dane Jackson proved to you that he's nothing but what he was and what he is. You know what I'm saying? And now you wasted half of this man's season of development when you could have put him in from the jump. How much further along could he have been by the playoffs? This man could have been way down the line. And he tends to do that with certain first round. I don't know, man.
Rev.
Talk to me, Silas.
Sauce Gardner.
Talk to me about the rookie cornerbacks who start. Yeah.
Tariq Woolen.
And did we talk about him?
Martin Emerson.
Yeah.
Derek Stingley.
Come on.
When he's not hurt, Trent McDuffie.
And Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant play too?
And Cam Taylor-Britt, too.
Taylor-Britt, Jalen Watson, Even the guys in the Ravens, Jalen Armour-Davis, even they played him when they had some injuries in their secondary. They played him and they let him go out there and make mistakes. And that's what you do with rookies. You play these guys early in the season. You let them make their mistakes, and you let them make their mistakes in week 1 to week 6, week 7, whatever. Because by the time you get to week 15, they have made their mistakes. They've learned and they're adjusted.
Right.
And they're ready to rock. That's why Kansas City's defense, since like week 10, has been one of the best in the league. Because they got a bunch of young rookies. They got George Karlaftis. They got Leo Chenal. They got Trent McDuffie. They got Jalen Watson. They got a bunch of guys that they playing. And these guys have played from the beginning. And they are now in the playoffs playing good football.
That's what you expect out of good coaches. That's what good coaches do. Especially when you draft a guy in round 1. Round 1. Now, you cannot convince me that this is Brandon Beane's thought. Like this is what he envisioned. I'm going to draft a guy in round 1 to be our cornerback 2 opposite Trey White when he comes back. And my coaches are going to sit him for the majority of the year. And then at points in the season, have him completely inactive. This goes, man, look, I'm telling you, man, like I know we were talking about like yo, Sean McDermott don't need to be fired, but if you don't cut that heat up on him, he's going to get very comfortable. Very, very comfortable. And it's going to go back to what my man had said earlier. I can't remember where his comment is, but he was talking about wasting the years of Josh Allen.
His prime.
You're going to waste this guy's prime
years.
His prime years on some dumb coaching decisions. And I think he's getting very comfortable. He loves his seat right now in One Bills Drive. He's like, yo, I got Josh Allen and we good. But fam, you better coach like you understand how fortunate you are. Do you know how many coaches would love to be in your position right now with a guy like Josh Allen and these weapons at their disposal? And you're sitting here playing like you just expect it. Come on, man. You about to. If they waste the prime years of Josh Allen, this has to be the worst debacle of organizational decisions that I've ever seen in my life. That everybody needs to go if they do that. I'm not expecting that to happen, but some serious changes need to take place, man. We have to be real and honest. I know we all love this team. We love the Bills, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, rah, 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 go Bills, go Bills. The Bills make me want to shout, all that kind of stuff. Look, I'm done clapping them up right now, okay? I'm done clapping them up. I need to see them make some changes. They have to, man, because what do they say? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You cannot continue to make the same decisions and think that, oh, just because I got Josh Allen, we're going to be good. Well, what if you don't? So what if you don't? Then what you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like we need, our coaching needs to step up, Kev. They definitely need to step up. What do you think, Kev, needs to take place, man? Some changes, man. Like, matter of fact, I'm gonna bring this around to everybody in here, all three of you, all two of you guys. Let me pull it up here real quickly. Where's it at?
Why you find that, Rev? I just want to say,
go ahead.
I saw someone in the comments say that the Bills acquired Dean Marlowe, and then he sat on the bench, and we're starting Cam Lewis over him. And not saying that Dean Marlowe would have made that play on Justin Jefferson, but how are you going to justify starting Cam Lewis? And then you bring in Xavier Rhodes, he's playing well, and then you cut him.
We saw what Dean Marlowe did against the Dolphins in that play. We saw how he was defending his own guy and then got in that zone and picked that ball off. Like Dean Marlowe, come on, man.
Well, Dean Marlowe was out of position in that play. He actually got very lucky on that play, but still,
but he still was athletic
Dean Marlowe,
play.
Right? Dean Marlowe understands how to play too high. And what we should have been doing this entire game, well, I'm not going to say the entire game, but for the majority of this game, we should have been running too high, press man underneath, and subbing Dane Jackson in, and whenever Kyer or Trey needed a blow.
Yes.
That's what should have been happening.
I should have been having all year long.
Because your pass rush is not getting home. So you need the coverage to get out there. And you need the coverage to give the pass rush more time to get home. And what is with not giving Boogie Bass was the only guy that actually made plays on the defensive line. He's the only one that actually made a play.
Yep.
But we keep sitting this guy for AJ Epinesa, who
Bust.
didn't even have a
right now.
pressure.
Bust.
He's a
Bust.
Bro.
Bust. Absolute bust.
We need to overhaul some things on this defense. AJ needs to go. Oliver needs to go. Resign Tremaine. Poyer needs to go. Don't move Benford to safety. Draft a safety, start him day one, and let him learn. So by the time we get to week 15, this kid who is fast and can hit will be ready to go and play playoff football and actually make a difference. Actually, not safety? Bite. Any safety we draft, there's a ton of them. There's a ton of them I love. We can take any of these guys. You're a DB coach, right, McDermott? Well, go. Here's a
coach
DB.
Him up.
Get him ready.
But he probably gonna sit him on the bench.
But we've been building this team to beat Kansas City. Oliver and AJ trade package to move back into the second round. Listen, let's do it. Let's get a couple of picks for those guys. But we've been building a team to beat Kansas City all of this time. Yeah. And the Bengals came up and supplanted us as the number 2 team. Because I fully think Kansas City's going to win this weekend. But they just came in and they came into our building, punched us in the mouth. They ran the type of offense that a team that plays in the snow all the time should be running.
Yep. And we didn't do it. We got out-coached, out-executed, and out-game planned for this entire game was just a huge collection of all of the issues that this team has had all year coming right into your face. Just everything, a perfect storm of all the problems that we've had all year. And they like to say, you are who you are in your last game. Well, guess what? This is who we are. A bad O-line, a pass rush that does not exist outside of Von Miller, and the worst coaching decisions on both sides of the football, a sign of hubris and arrogance when not being able to adjust. Like, you have to adjust to what they're giving you. You have to. And they were playing soft coverage on the outside. Where's the 4-yard curls to Diggs and the 4-yard curls to Davis? We got a 5'6" Isaiah McKenzie playing slot, but you got the 6'4" Isaiah Hodgins balling as a slot receiver with the Giants. Why didn't he get a shot? Why didn't Khalil Shakir take snaps away? Like, is it harder to throw to a 6-foot guy than it is a 5'6" guy? I don't think so. There were so many changes, Rav. So many changes need to happen, man. So many boneheaded decisions, man. So many boneheaded. And here's my question for both of you guys, and even to everybody in the chat, and those who are watching live, man. Shout out to you guys, man. Do me this favor, smash that like, hit the subscribe button, and turn on those bell notifications. I told you we're gonna go long tonight because we got a lot to get off our chest, and you guys are still rocking with us, and because we're gonna keep on talking about this. Let's have this conversation. So my question, man, when you look at this season, right? 13-3 regular season, right? Get bounced in the division around, and according to our GM, his own words, blown out. He said, I'm gonna call it a blowout. 17 points, I'm gonna call it a blowout. That's what he said in his presser. Blowout at home. When you're talking about securing the number 1 seed and how important this is, and the playoffs running through Buffalo, you just got blown out of your own building. Okay, so now that the season is culminated, it's over with, and we're sitting here looking at this team that we have right now. Who are the Buffalo Bills? Who are the Buffalo Bills? Like, I don't want to hear about this trust the process, playoff caliber championship. I don't want to hear none of that regurgitated nonsense. Like who are the Buffalo Bills? And let's get before I come to you guys and answer the question, I want to get an outside perspective, an outsider's perspective on what they think the Buffalo Bills are. Check this out, man. This first clip is from Bucky Brooks. Okay, on the Movie Sticks podcast. This is what Bucky Brooks had to say. Check this out.
Yeah, so it's funny you talked about that offense and the way they're built and the clear identity that I believe the Cincinnati Bengals have. I believe the Buffalo Bills are a bit of a crossroads. We've seen this team in the last 3 years appear to be a team that is ready to go to the Super Bowl, but they've fallen short. And now I wonder if this team is not only plateaued, but if they're now beginning to regress and come back to the pack. And so when you're looking at the team and you're trying to figure out how can you help them get better, they have to figure out offensively, what is our identity going to be? Are we going to continue to be the big play team that really hangs on the success that Josh Allen is able to kind of produce with these magical plays? Or can they build a more balanced offense that takes some of the pressure off of him to kind of be the big play hunter, where they can play a more controlled game? Because that was the difference in this game on Sunday. The Bengals could play a control game with Joe Burrow kind of changing speeds, whereas Josh Allen is always going to be the big play hunter. I think Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane have to sit down and assess, how can we take a very good offense and make it better? Because what we've been doing the last 3 years has not been good enough to get us over the hump.
Man, Bucky Brooks coming in, yo, and he just laid it out like perfectly, talking about what the team is. And then he questioned it like I wonder if this team has not only plateaued but regressed a little bit. Like, see, that's the kind of things that a lot of Bills fans don't want to hear. They don't want to hear about that, Will. They don't want to hear about that, Kev. Like, yo, this team could have plateaued and possibly be regressing. I don't think it's because of the players on the field. I mean, you got the players. To me, it goes down to coaching. Like, I don't understand how you can have this level of talent and Josh Allen at the helm, and this team appear to be regressing because of certain play calls and certain philosophies on offense. Kevin, talk to me, man, about this Bills offense, because you made some things. I mean, you mentioned some things here in your article about the offense that are kind of, as you said, mind blowing to you. So, what are your thoughts about Ken Dorsey and this offense this year?
That was a perfect segue. I didn't see that Bucky Brooks clip, but he pretty much took the words out of my mouth. Did you guys see Michael Florio too? That thread on Twitter? If you guys haven't seen it, that was perfect. He laid it all out there, and I actually posted that on my Facebook page, and I said, I'm coming out with the big end of the season article towards the end of the week, but for now, read this, because this guy is spot on, calling out everything that is wrong with the Bills. So that's a good segue, because in terms of the Bills' identity, they never had one. Josh Allen was the identity. I wrote that in the article, where it seemed like the game plan every week was to have Josh do everything and put the team on his shoulders and put up video game numbers as if he were playing Madden, because they were living and dying by the deep ball. And the thing that really, really agitated me was that Dorsey's motto was, let's play smart but not conservative. So that means we're going to be aggressive, but just be smart about it. But that leads to a lot of mistakes and a lot of interceptions and a lot of red zone turnovers that we weren't seeing with Josh before. Now, that's on both of them. But when you have that motto, the key word there is smart. How smart is it when you're up by 3 points in the first round of the playoffs and you're in the fourth quarter? You're trying to preserve the lead. You're trying to chew up clock. And you take 2 deep shots to Gabe Davis. How smart is that? And then you get sacked on third down and you have to punt and you use 59 seconds of clock. Or how smart is it when it's 3rd and 2 in the divisional round, and instead of keeping the ball in your best player's hands and doing a QB designed run, you throw a 40-yard bomb to Gabe Davis, who, by the way, had a 52% catch rate this year. So I don't get how they're trying to be smart but not conservative, because all I'm seeing is aggressiveness. And that's pretty much the identity, is that they don't know how to use this short field. And that's what I said in the article. It is mind-boggling how they did not implement a short passing game, because wasn't that the main goal this year from the offensive point of view. I remember I was just starting with Buffalo Fanatics last year, so maybe we didn't talk about this too much, but I was saying right along, the Bills' goal was they wanted to add speed, right? They wanted to get yards after the catch. How can we beat Kansas City? We need more speed. So you draft James Cook in the 2nd round. You draft Khalil Shakir in the 5th round. And then during the season, you acquire Nyheim Hines. Guys, those 3 players combined for 36 receptions all season. Hines had 6 receptions. He had 5 receptions. He had 6 rushes for -3 yards. How does that even make sense?
Didn't he leave the
I'm at a
NFL?
loss for words how you can't formulate that and say, oh, we want to get better with yards after the catch. We want to take the pressure off of Josh. We don't want him to take those big hits. We want him to take what the defense is giving you, but let's just abandon the slants, the crossers, the out routes, screen passes, check downs, hit someone out.
Exactly.
None of that. No trick plays. No.
Forget this. Let me say this, Kevin. I'm sorry to interrupt, man. Like, forget all this. Oh, Josh didn't take the check down. Yo, you didn't put this stuff in your design. Like this was nowhere in your play design. That's what we're saying. Like this guy he did nothing play design wise to scheme guys open like this. This was talked about last year, Kev, about Brian Dorsey, and really like every year there was like something about Josh's game that needed to be improved upon. And I think his 2nd year, it was like, okay, the intermediate routes or like the underneath routes, right? And so he worked on that, and then we did it with Cole Beasley, all that kind of stuff. And then you come in here looking for yak. You got a yak guy in Khalil Shakir, fam, and he's on the freaking sideline all year. For Isaiah McKenzie, Little Dirty, I can barely catch McKenzie, who looked okay in camp and won the job by default, quote unquote, because Jamison Crowder went down with injury. And Sean McDermott don't really trust rookies, so here's Khalil Shakir, the better option, bigger, stronger. You know what I'm saying? A higher ceiling guy. He sits the bench. He said your yak guy that you say you want is sitting on the bench all year long, and whenever he gets a chance, he shows up. He shows up, man. Look, let me Kevin, before I get to what you're saying, and I just had to say that. Whittle, man, you gotta. I feel you, man. Let me get into the super chat real quick, Whittle. Let me read the super chat from Cameo. Appreciate the super chat. He says, "Yo, man, we don't have the right players at key positions." He says, "Fam, we undersized at the line, and on D, and at corner. Plus, we need a running back. There ain't really too much of that I disagree. I mean, I agree with just about everything. We don't have the right players at key positions. Yeah, we talked about that with Whittleman on the defensive line. Undersized interior on the defensive line. Undersized on the offensive line. We don't have no physicality at all. You know what I'm saying? Running back, at this point, running back ain't going to really do nothing right now because we don't know who we are. We have no idea, Kevin, like you mentioned, like we have no identity offensively. None. And let me go ahead, and then I've got another clip for everybody to take a look at too from somebody else who has something else to say about this offense.
We did have a running back. We had multiple running backs, but we refused to use them. Devin Singletary did everything that this team asked him to. And Whittle and I talked about it on our spaces throughout the year that he needs 18 to 20 touches a game, and they would totally abandon him. James Cook averaged over, I think it was 5.7 yards per carry this year. He was in the doghouse. He really stepped it up. Where was that down the stretch? I think Singletary had 6 rushes. Cook had 5 last Sunday. 11 rushing attempts between your top 2 running backs in a playoff game in the snow. Are you kidding me? Now, I know they were behind, and you're playing catch-up, so that flipped the script a little bit, but we know how this offense was. I think if the score was the opposite, they'd still be throwing 40 times a game.
And here's what's so frustrating, Kev, because at the beginning of in the offseason, maybe you guys remember this. I remember it vividly when Dabo left and got the job with the Giants. They entered the offseason, and at the combine, there was a press conference that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane had. Okay, and at this time they made some changes, some coaching changes. Right, we know they promoted Ken Dorsey. Then they added Aaron Kromer. Okay, remember Aaron Kromer years back in Buffalo, as an O-line coach, man, their team led the league in rushing back-to-back years. Okay, then in free agency, they bring in Roger Saffold, who's known to be a very good run blocker in his career, at least, right? Sean McDermott gets up at this combine press conference, and he talks about somebody asked him about the coaching changes and why he made certain changes. He said, "Yo, this is giving us an opportunity to rebrand and reset, to rebrand ourselves as an offense and reset a little bit." And then Brandon Beane came on and talked about the need and the focus for them this offseason was to protect Josh Allen and to protect him from himself. Protect him from himself because they don't want to have a Cam Newton on their hands who's getting beat up year in and year out. And you've got this generational talent who's out of the league in 7 years because he keeps getting hit. And that's the kind of game he plays. So you want to protect him and protect him from himself. That's not just the offensive line. That's protecting him with the run game. Sean McDermott talked about balance all the time. We need to balance. We need more balance, more balance, more balance. Balance this, balance that. So let's bring in Aaron Cromer, his O-line coach, who last time he was here, man, everywhere he really went, has a dominant run game. Let's do this. Let's bring in this big Roger Saffold. Yeah, he's up in his career, but he's known to be a road blocker, a road grader. Okay, what happens this year? They do the freaking opposite. They don't do any of that. There's really no balance. When they do see that the run game works to a degree, they come off of it. They come off of it, man, because they look at, oh, well, wait, I've got Josh Allen. What are we doing? We need to pass the ball more. But I thought you said that you need to protect him from himself, and you want more balance. How is that more balance? And you continue to just throw the ball around the yard and put the ball in Josh Allen's hands. And there's a contingency of fans who say, when we're talking about, having a run game this year, not necessarily saying we need to go to a ground and pound offense, but have a legitimate run game to remove the pressure from Josh Allen to where he doesn't have to be Superman all the time, and how that's going to make the offense more effective. People were like, Rev, how can you get the ball out of Josh Allen's hand? He's your best player. How can you remove him, take the ball out of his hands? You don't want to do that. That's dumb. What happened this year? We put the ball in his hands, and here we are sitting on the outside looking in. But look, don't take my word for it. Okay, it's one thing for you to listen to me, a fan, right? Talk about the offense and what we think about the offense, right, Kev, right, Silas? We talk about it all the time. Here's somebody, a much more respected individual than either of us are, who watches ton of tape, lives in the film room. Listen at what he had to say about the Buffalo Bills offense, and a lot of people got upset about it, but it was nothing but straight facts. Listen at this.
I think we've become a little enamored with the fact that Allen is so special as a talent that we lose sight of the fact that this team does not have a real good O-line. They don't have a consistent run game, which they're trying to develop. And really, they have one real good receiver and then a bunch of other guys. So, I think the sense is that, this is a super talented offense. It's not a super talented offense. And it's built around Josh Allen being special every single game, and that's hard to play that way.
Greg Cosell spit nothing but facts. Nothing but facts. Talked about the offense, about what it is. And a lot of people heard that, about, we've got one good wide receiver, and that's about it. And they got upset. But that's the truth, man. Like, that's really what they have. It's Josh Allen or nothing, and it's Josh Allen hero ball or nothing. There's no design to the offense. There's no creativity. There is no flow. It's disjointed. I've heard him say that before. It seems disjointed at times, and they seem to find a way in moments to rely on Josh Allen to give them the chance to win the game. And I think they've gotten a little intoxicated by that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've been so used to it that's what they think. And this offense is really nothing, man. I get the numbers. I get all that. But we all know this is Josh Allen. Like, Josh Allen is making Dorsey look a lot better than who he really is. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot better than who he really is. And you remove Josh from the equation, this team is a 500 team. You get Josh Allen out and you keep Ken Dorsey in this offense, it's a 500 team at best with the talent that they have. It's due to coaching, man. It's due to coaching. You guys go ahead and talk about that, man. For Silas, and I'm gonna get to you, man. What are your comments and your thoughts about what Greg Cosell had to say? And I'm trying to drop this link here in the chat. You guys let me know, man, if you can get it. I just dropped it because I want to hear from you guys. I don't know, man. Kevin, maybe you can help me out. But yeah, go ahead, Widow. Tell me your thoughts about Greg Cosell.
Well, I mean, he's exactly right. They did a lot of talking in the offseason about what they were going to try to do, and they lied to us. They brought in Aaron Cromer, and he was supposed to fix the line. Bates looks worse this year than he did last year. Spencer Brown looks 10 times worse than he did last year. Deion Dawkins hasn't played as well as he did last year. And Mitch Morse hasn't played as well as he did last year.
Right.
The run game hasn't really improved. They added some wrinkles in here and there, but they didn't consistently utilize those wrinkles, like the pin and pull concept, like the counter off tackle play that they would run, where they would pin down with Gabe Davis or Dawson Knox on the defensive end, and then pull Spencer Brown out in space. They didn't do any of this.
Right.
You've got a bunch of guys on this line who are supposed to be competent run blockers, and you constantly have them in shotgun, in passing sets, retreating. There was a guy on Twitter that said he was in a space. He and I were in a space maybe a few months ago, and he was saying the problem with your offensive line. He said offensive linemen want to go forward sometimes. Like when you call a run play, offensive linemen get excited because now they get to go and attack. And you're not doing this. You're not doing it at all. And the numbers don't lie. Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie, while they may be nice guys and everybody likes them on the team, they're not producing. They're not producing at a level. They're not producing to the level that you need them to produce in order to advance in the playoffs. Ed Oliver has not produced. Has Ed Oliver had more than 4 sacks, more than 5 sacks in the season? No,
he hasn't. And I thought for sure that this year, with finally having a legit one tech in Daquan Jones and then bringing I thought he was gonna. I think he was gonna go off.
There's no more excuses. The excuses are gone. You were supposed to be dominant this year because you have a legit one tech. And they can't even double team you because Von Miller's on the other side.
Yeah.
Where were all of the sacks before Von Miller got hurt? I didn't see him.
I didn't see him either. So it's all talk, man. It seems
they
like
had an opportunity to address some of the things that they wanted to address in the draft this year. And we took 2 linebackers that didn't even dress. We took Terrell Bernard in the 3rd round. Right. And he didn't even dress against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He didn't even dress. We could have taken the interior offensive lineman right after that, Dylan Parham. We took Baylor Spector in the 7th round?
Yeah.
Or 6th round or whatever it was. I think it was 7th round pick. He didn't even play. What was if we just needed a guy to play special teams and come off the bench, we could have kept Joe Giles Harris for that. We could have kept him up there. I mean, if you're trying to save money, that's fine. You cut Joe Giles Harris or whatever. We could have signed Baylor Spector as a undrafted free agent, or you could have got any linebacker to come out there. You could have got anybody to come and linebacker and play special teams.
Yeah,
you could have got anybody, but you could have used that 7th round pick to go and get a lineman, go and get somebody that you could actually use. Amari Barno went in the 6th round to the Carolina Panthers. That dude is going to be a monster. He's insurance in case Brian Burns leaves. Where's our insurance when Von Miller goes down? We don't have it.
We don't have it.
They lied to us. They lied.
Like you're making a lot of good points, man. And I'm getting frustrated thinking about all the what could have happened, and the way this. I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to hear. I want to hear from other guys.
Okay, let me throw one more out there.
Yeah,
right?
Go ahead.
I got one quick thing to say too after Whittle.
All right, all right. You guys. Matter of fact, put a pin in it real quickly, all right? Because man, we've been 2 hours at it, and
We'll get it in.
shout out to the chat. We've got a lot. Look, we're gonna be talking for a while, okay? But now I want to give you guys a chance, man, to come on here and share your thoughts. What do you guys think about the conversation? I've got a couple of people already in here ready to go. So let's do this right now. Steve, you're up next. So we're gonna bring it on, man. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go, man. You ready to go? All right, my man Steve L is coming in right now. Steve, what is going on, baby? How you feeling, man? How you feeling? Welcome to Rated Rev. I'm glad you're here. What are your thoughts, my man?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Right now, the rookie contract window is open. So from now going forward, it's going to be much harder, but we can still do it. So Buffalo fans, don't give up hope. You guys are the best fans. When I think about Buffalo fans, I really always hope for them to get a Super Bowl because I'm a Bills fan and I'm so proud of this fan group because the Bills fans reminds me of like the Who's, in The Grinch Stole Christmas. Even when the Grinch takes all the gifts away, even when this team 20-year drought, they still come to the stadium and show love. So but right now it's gonna be tough because here's the facts. Brandon Beane missed on a lot of picks. That's a fact. Number two, and this is Rev, you got to do this too, because in the beginning of the season, you said a lot of takes like, oh, Davis is going to be this great number two, and this guy's going to leap forward, and this guy's like, you can't take an anomaly and think that it's going to be a trend. You got to see like, okay, this guy can improve a little. Even our top picks, Oliver got better, but a little bit. Tremaine got better a little bit. Not everyone leaps like Josh Allen. That's an anomaly. Yeah. So
now I will say this, Steve. I will say this about Gabe Davis. I mean, if we're just looking at stats, just numbers wise, I did say at the beginning of the season, I thought that the Bills were going to have 2,000-yard receivers in Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis got close, over 800 yards. He was close, but he has a 50% drop rate. Catch rate. So
when you look at Gabe Davis's numbers and you look at where he ranks, he's ranking. When you look at the page of wide receivers, he's on page 3, below tight ends. Yeah. So he's a top number 3 receiver and a bottom number 2 receiver, and that's just a fact. And he might get a little bit better, but there's a reason why he's a 5th rounder. He's got the height, he's got great hands, but he has problems separating. He only ran a certain amount of routes in college,
so he separate. Yeah,
there's a limit to what he can do, and when he got deep, it's when he lined up in the slot. So these are things that you got to know. So, and whenever you want to measure Buffalo roster against another team, it's just a simple exercise. Just ask how many players on this team could start for that team. And when you think about it, it's really this year, it's really Josh, it's probably Milano, and it's probably Diggs. And by the way, Diggs many times would be the number 2 receiver on the premier teams like Philadelphia, like San Francisco, like even like teams eliminated like Dallas and Miami, Diggs might be the number 2.
I disagree with Dallas,
but it might be like 1A. But Josh is the only one that'd be like,
maybe like 1A, like Diggs, like 1A. I'm gonna let you get on that, Silas, because he came off the couch for that one. So what do you think about Diggs, man? About if he was on another team, let's say the top teams, like Steve mentioned. He didn't even throw out the
Cincinnati,
Cincinnati, San Francisco, Philly, Dallas.
He started on all those.
What about Miami?
He's starting on that team too. They would move Jalen Waddle to the slot.
Jalen Waddle's going, but he would be behind Tyreek.
Tyreek he would be the league. Tyreek led the league in yards in receiving.
And he would. So when you're looking at Buffalo being a Super Bowl caliber team, we have to have guys that when other teams look at us, be like, oh man, our number 1 receiver might be a 1A or a number 2 on their team. So this is what don't get in your feelings. I'm just bringing out facts. I'm a Bills fan.
I'm not in feelings.
I'm not in my feelings. I just don't
disagree with that.
You.
I disagree with you about Diggs. Now other players, and we can talk about that. But Diggs, I think he's a dog.
So anyway. When you look at teams in the NFL, Steve, and
when you look at
receivers on each of them, that's 64. You can't name me 10 receivers better than Stephon Diggs. I don't think you can name 5.
Right. So you're right. I can't name Tyreek. I can't name the number one receiver on Cincinnati. I just forgot his name.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar, I can't name him. I can't name the wide receiver on the Raiders. I also can't name AJ Brown. I also can't name
AJ Brown's not better than Stephon Diggs.
No.
I also can't name Debo. I can't name.
Debo's not better
Not
than
better
Diggs
than
either.
I'm saying I can't name five. I can't name five. But they're
No, but you're naming guys that are not better.
They're
Than
not
that.
better. Yeah.
right. But the separation is very close, and we can only say this about Diggs, Allen, and maybe Milano this year. So
Tremaine
when you
Edmonds.
looked at Atlanta, Cincinnati coming into Buffalo, they had 12 to 13 Pro Bowlers or Pro Bowl alternates. We have maybe 3-4 players at that level, or maybe used to be at that level, but now only have maybe name recognition. So this is a big issue, and everyone's seeing it now. Now that it's exposed big time, everyone's seeing it. So this off season, right? There's guards in the free agency. There's also young safeties in the free agency. So what you're looking at is that in the draft, what's going to come down to the first 3 rounds, there's going to be a great running back, there's going to be a great wide receiver, and possibly a great tackle or a great pass rusher in those 3 rounds. And we're going to have to choose the right combo, and we're going to have to hit on all 3, because otherwise we're going to be back to where we are. Because if we have some real freaky players in those assets, it's great that we have Tremaine, but as you see, linebackers aren't as critical, depending on the scheme, as a pass rusher, as a shutdown corner. Trey White, just as much as we love Trey White, even if he didn't get injured, just by how many years he's played in a corner's lifespan, this is where usually it's on the decline. And if Miami had traded Xavier Howard when he had value, they'd be in a better position. So it should be on the table. Can we trade Trey White? Also, should we trade Oliver? Those
okay. Oliver,
be,
we can talk about, but Trey White, yeah. No, we're going to part ways on that one. And Steve, look, I appreciate you coming on, man. I like some of the takes you said. I disagree with some of the stuff about Diggs and other players, man. But I feel where you're coming from. Shout out to you guys.
It's close. Man. It's close. We have to have more separation.
Yeah. Diggs is top 5. Yeah, Diggs is top. Diggs is top 5, man. But let me get your ransom, Steve. So I appreciate you, man. All right, have a good one, baby. So there was, I disagree with Diggs, and I'm not comparing Pro Bowlers or all pro players to another team's Look, at the end of the day, man, we getting outcoached, okay? Outcoached, because even with the players that we have on this team, if they're not on the same elite level, as other teams, these guys, if they're coached properly, you know what I'm saying, can handle business. And so, yeah, forget all that. Okay, forget all that.
The Edmonds slander needs to stop.
Yes.
Edmonds, I get harassed by people, or I get harassed by other fans from other teams on Twitter all the time. Like, are y'all gonna re-sign Edmonds? Do you think they're gonna re-sign Edmonds? The Dolphins would sign Edmonds tomorrow. The Jets would sign Edmonds tomorrow. The Steelers would sign Edmonds tomorrow. There are tons of teams that would sign Edmonds tomorrow.
And look, and let me say this, and we're gonna get to ransom here shortly. And I was talking about Edmonds, man. A lot of times I was critiquing him, like, yo, I don't know, man. This guy, he still seems to be making some of the same rookie mistakes and blah blah. And then people were like, yo, Reb, it's a D line, man. Get him a 1 tech in front of him and watch what he does. He has to take on old linemen, get into the second level. Give him a clean path to the quarterback and watch him. Well, this year we get Daquan Jones. What happens? Tremaine Edmonds has his best year, the best season of his career.
DMX 3698 with the comment of the day so far.
Where's it at?
We need to frame it. Defense is not a priority, bro. It's not.
No.
We have to outscore these teams. The number one defense over the last 2 years has given up 35 points and 400 plus yards.
Yes.
Everybody's score prediction, and I'm robbing this from a buddy of mine off of Twitter Spaces. Dale. If Dale is out there watching, this is Dale's thing. he came up with this. He said, "Give me your score prediction," and everybody's score prediction had Cincinnati scoring somewhere between 24 and 28 points. They scored 27, so that means the offense let us down
big time.
because we only scored 10.
Big time.
I mean, the
You gotta
defense
do
did
better.
let us down too, but
Yeah, true.
you're right.
But-
If you
Yeah.
scored, if you were to say the Bengals were going to score 27 points, I think a lot of fans would say, "Okay, we can score 28."
I mean, what were we averaging? What, 30 points a game here? The last how many games? Like, so when you get down to this, and you get down to these types of teams, offensive juggernauts, defense out the window because you're not going to make any stops against these guys, right? I mean, we saw what happened against the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? We saw what happened like that. Like, defense can get you so far. You know what I'm saying? But you need an offense, man, especially in this league right now that is so offense and pass centric. You know, you have to be able to put these points up. You have to be able to compete, and we just didn't do it. I'm gonna give my man Ransom. My man Ransom is coming on. Ransom, give me a thumbs up, man, when you're ready.
Hey, real quick, I just want to say, Rev told me to kind of man the chat here. So when you guys come on, just drop a comment in there and let me know what you want to talk about. Then we'll get this thing moving.
All right, my man Ransom. Ransom is ready to go. Let me bring him on the screen real quick.
Yes, sir. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Good. Oh, man, yeah, you sound good, man. You sound good. What's on your mind, baby?
I've been a Bills fan for a long time, brother. I've been through the good times, the drought, and now to this. My big thing is like, I got a couple things I want to say. Brandon Beane, when he first came in, he said he had to start building this team from the draft. He has not done that since he's got here. He keeps spending money at these lines and nothing's happening. It's the same thing year after year.
Right.
Tremaine Edmonds, first year he came in, they made an NFL film about him and said he was on a tear. And if he kept the pace that he was on, he could be at the top of like linebacker play in the NFL history. But he had a good guy in front of him, like you said. And then last year he kind of fell off because they didn't have that guy. This year they brought someone in that had some, Jaquan Jones and had a little bit up front. So he had a great season, back to where he was. But they were sending him in blitzes the first season and all kinds of stuff. None of that. The whole scheme has changed. You're sending freaking linemen out to cover receivers. I don't get why you got 12 defensive tackles and you don't have the defensive players you need where you need them. And then this whole thing about Stephon Diggs, okay? Man, listen, I love every one of my Bills brothers and sisters. But, dude, this much separates them this much. Shut the hell up, okay? Stephon Diggs is a great receiver. The problem is we don't have a number two because when we don't have a number two, they double-team Stephon Diggs, and it's like gorillas in the mist, brother. Where are you? Where are you? I can't find you, okay? Because you don't have a number two, and you're picking up scrawny running backs. I'm sorry, if you start next year with James Cook and Hines, we are in trouble because they do not know how to use a pass-catching running back. They do not run screens. James Cook comes out. They said, oh, my God, best pass-catching running back to come out of the draft in forever. What's it? Where was that? Shakir played better than a lot of the receivers that we have, and they just roasted him on the bench.
Yep.
Ransom,
I love it, man. I love what you're saying. I want to point out what you said here, Ransom, about Diggs, dude. Look, Diggs is a dog. I don't care what you say. Top 5 wide receiver in the National Football. Like, not many receivers are up there with Diggs. I don't care what anybody's talking about right now. Okay, this guy, you expect defense. Like, if you look, if a defensive coordinator is going to look at the Buffalo Bills offense and circle a player, you better bet you bet your bottom dollar, man, it's going to be Stephon Diggs. Okay, but as an OC, you already know that going in. You know Diggs is going to get doubled. But does that mean you just throw in the towel and be like, well, they're gonna erase Diggs? You know what I'm saying? So we're just gonna forget him. No, man, you gotta have enough sense and enough intelligence to figure out a way to get him involved, regardless of the coverage. He's that type of animal. You got guys like he brought up Devontae Adams. How many times did Devontae Adams, you know what I'm saying, get double covered in Green Bay, and they still found a way to give him the ball? You know what I'm saying? In the Super Bowl last year, Cooper Kupp, right? Cooper Kupp, OBJ went out, and all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, McVay, finally the light bulb clicked. He's like, you know what? We're about to lose this game. I'm going to Cooper Kupp come hell or high water. And they knew it. The Bengals knew it was going to Cooper Kupp, and they couldn't do nothing with him because they schemed him open. You've got a dog like that. You don't sit there and be content with allowing the defense to take him out of the game. You move him around the field and you be creative. There was nothing like that from Dorsey. Nothing.
That's for sure. I hate to say it. He's 13-3 with a separation of 8 points with 3 losses. He's not going nowhere. This team is so close. It's not a business. It's a family. And I'm not saying you can't be tight-knit, but it's so close family that they can't make the tough decisions.
That's right.
Josh Allen, it really sucks when Josh Allen is supposed to be your quarterback, and he's the number 1 rusher. What do you want me to do? Throw the ball? Oh, Josh Allen throws the ball. Josh Allen just made a fantastic block and caught the ball. Oh, my God, he's heading down the sidelines. Touchdown. Yeah. He can't do everything by himself, bro. You got to get him something. And I hate to say it, but you keep running him like you are, it's going to be Cam Newton all over again. This is what they did to Cam and down there.
Exactly right.
And it's killing me. But I have my own group. I have 12th Man Mafia, and then I'm also the abdomen of Josh Allen's Mafia. And you can post all your stuff on my page if you want or whatever. I'm fine with all that. It's just like I am so passionate about the Bills, and I keep every year saying, "Oh, there's next year." I'm tired of saying next year, bro.
Me too, man. Me too, Ransom.
It stabs you in the heart. My first game ever I went to was the Houston Oilers Buffalo Bills game. We had the biggest comeback in NFL history. It cemented me in as a Buffalo Bill, even though my whole family was. But that cemented me in, and I've been here, and I just keep getting like God, how do you back up 20 yards when you need 15 yards for a first down? How do you back up 6 yards when you need 4 yards for a first down? I mean, come on, man. I played high school ball, and I know this shit.
Yeah.
It's not hard. I mean, like, I don't understand what's going on, and
a lot of it is not rocket science, man. I think some of these guys they're just so stuck in their ways, man. Their schemes where they just think that it's going to work all the time, and you just don't get out of it. And they're finding out that it's not working. But I wonder whether or not they're going to have this reality check moment and decide, you know what, we need to change some things up because it's not working. It hasn't been working in the biggest moments of our careers, man, here in the playoffs. Ransom, man, I appreciate you, man, hopping on, baby. I love your takes, man. You got some fans in here talking about, yo, Ransom spitting facts. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, baby. We're going to do this more often, man.
I'm not one of them guys. I'm not one of them guys, Bills by 60. I'm going to tell you what it is. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but this is football, man. This is for men.
There we go.
Like, this is a tough man sport, you know? I mean, women, too. I'm sorry. I'm not, like, trying to exclude y'all. But, you know.
We get it. We get it. All right, Ransom, have a good one, man. Appreciate you, baby.
All right, later, brother.
All right,
thanks.
Go Bills, man. Yo, Ransom, he was speaking some facts, man. He had a lot of stuff to say, man. Kevin, man, what was on your mind, man? Because I know there's some things that Ransom said that you wanted to talk about.
To be honest, I forgot now.
Did you forget?
you remember the part where I said like that and I was going to say something?
No, I don't.
I got to retrace my steps here. It was something good, too.
Yeah. Silas, man.
I don't know. He covered a lot of ground, though, because
he did.
He went from talking about Diggs, and we started talking about the whole 9 yards. So,
yeah,
that was good.
Yeah.
Well, he said exactly what Stephon Diggs has been saying for the majority of the season. There is no reason that any defense in the NFL should take him out of the game. Cooper Kupp they knew Cooper Kupp was getting the football. They moved Cooper Kupp all over the field, and they threw him the football, and they knew it was coming to him, and they still couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
When Jamar Chase got hurt, they knew the ball was going to T. Higgins. Couldn't stop it.
It's
You gotta
competent.
force feed this. This is winning time.
Yeah,
this
man.
is why you got this guy. Feed him the ball. He's just call hike and look at him.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's more than just like, oh, let's target him, because you can look at the game like, well, he had like 10 targets, but it ain't about it. It ain't really about the targets, man. It's really about the design, man. Like the design of the offense, and being able to get him schemed up in the game plan. Like you got to move. You got to understand that like Diggs is, and I don't play chess, man, but like he's that top piece, man. Like you got to have this guy moved around, and you have to dictate to defenses how you gonna play. You can't sit there and be reactive. You need to be proactive and be like, yo, look, defend this, stop this. This is our number one guy. This is our dog, top 5 wide receiver. Stop him if you can. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be you can't just roll over and show your belly and be like, oh, well, they double dig, so let's just there he is. He's gone. He's out of the game. No wonder the man was throwing his hands up on the sideline looking at Josh. You know what I'm saying? Like just looking like yo, what's going on, man? Like come on, throw me the ball.
he was telling him stop listening to
Dorsey.
Yes, because
Stop listening to that fool, man, because he don't know what he's talking about. He don't know what he's talking about.
there's no reason. There is no. I'm gonna always go back to this. 2019 and 2020, Josh Allen lived with those 8-yard curl routes. He lived off of those. John Brown 8-yard curl route. Stephon Diggs 10-yard, 12-yard curl route, 6-yard curl route, quick slant. Until you force the corners to play tight, then you beat them down the seam. Then you beat them down the sideline with a double move. I trust Stephon Diggs to read that defender.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Every time.
Again, what DMX said in the chat, we need to go after offense. We need to draft playmaking wide receivers that can either take the top off the defense, that can route you up, or a guy that's going to catch the football and run through a corner. And they've got guys like that in this draft, and we need to go after them early.
So before we get into like draft talk and what the positional needs are on the team, this is what I want to ask you and Kevin and to everybody in the chat as well as I put this banner up, man. I need you guys to do me this favor. Okay. What changes need to be made? Okay. And I want you to pick one. I'm gonna give you some options. When you think about these changes. What changes need to be made? Pick one. Is it coaching staff, personnel, scheme, philosophy? Coaching staff, personnel, scheme, philosophy. Which one of y'all want to take it first? You can only pick one. Kevin.
Go ahead, Kev.
Sorry, can you repeat that? You cut out a little bit. You said coaching staff, philosophy, scheme,
philosophy, scheme, and right? Personnel. Players, like personnel.
Okay. Well, I think I'll just go off of what I put in my article, because I finished it by pretty much saying that I'm not one to call for firings or say, oh, clean house. This team is falling off the ladder. We're going to plateau or whatever. But like we've been saying right along in this show, it is true. This team will plateau, or like Bucky Brooks said, they're going to regress if they aren't aggressive. I want them to be as aggressive. I want the Bills to be as aggressive this offseason as they were on offense this year. Throw the deep ball every play. And by that, I mean, if that means a shakeup with firing Ken Dorsey or Leslie Frazier, then so be it. Like, I like both of those guys. I think they did a lot of good things this year. And that's the thing. And maybe this is a point that when you said, what were we going to say? And I was like, I can't remember. I had a lot of those thoughts going through my head. But one of them was that the Bills finished top 5 in a lot of categories. And the stats are very, very favorable. And the DVOA and the total yards and the points and all this. But I want them to look outside of that and say,
talk.
So what? we won 13 games in the regular season, but we didn't win the Super Bowl. And until we win the Super Bowl, we're not going to stop fighting for it. And by that, they have to look within, look in the mirror really hard and say 36 points per game and 468 yards on defense is not going to cut it. Leslie Frazier, I'm sorry, but we need a new voice in this defensive room. There you go. That graphic says it all right there. Ken Dorsey, same thing. Now, I think they might give him the benefit of the doubt just because it was year one, Josh loves him, and this and that. But I think this team needs a shakeup in some capacity, whether that's firing Dorsey, firing Frazier, maybe both of them, or if they're too reluctant to fire these guys due to the stats or the relationships that they built with them throughout the years, then at least bring someone in. At least bring in someone like a Frank Reich. Obviously, you know, I know Frank Reich is in Carolina now, but or maybe like you guys said, Lovie Smith. Would he want to come here as a defensive assistant, just like an associate head coach, just like another voice?
Like they have like that. They got Eric Washington, and that's his. Look a what a second.
Every time that man's name gets mentioned, I get upset, man.
I'm
Jesus.
Look, I
don't have nothing personal against Eric. Eric, if you out here watching, or if somebody know Eric, and like, don't tell him I hate him. I don't. I just don't think you're good at your job, bro.
Oh man,
that's all.
I'll say this, man, because look, I'm glad we're talking about this, like in these changes, man. Like honestly, I don't think they're gonna do anything, bro. I think they're gonna nitpick. They're gonna pick at the low hanging fruit. You know, save themselves, right? Leslie Frazier, you know, Ken Dorsey you got the GM already making excuses for him year one, okay? You know, and they're gonna get guys like freaking safety coach, makes no sense, you know. But then when you go like you got a guy like Eric Washington, fam, it's too late, bro, because he's got the dual title, man. He's got the dual title. The guy's a defensive line coach / the defensive assistant. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think Sean McDermott is going to bring in somebody else to be the defensive assistant. Man, in my opinion, I think, like, look, for me, you know, Frazier needs to go. I think they've had enough time. I think they've had enough of Frazier, right? Even though when you look at Frazier, it's hard for you to look at Frazier and not see Sean McDermott sitting there in the corner too, because you know what I'm saying, like it's every bit as it's every bit as his defense as it is Frazier's. You know what I'm saying? So, but you're not gonna get rid of McDermott, so the guy has to, you know, scapegoat has to be Frazier. But then when you look at like Eric Washington, I think if McDermott were to let go of Frazier, I think Eric Washington is gonna get promoted, fam. Like, that's just what I think. He's already been there. He's groomed. He's been with McDermott. He's with him in Carolina. He's got the dual title, man. He got the D-line coach / you know, he's not just defensive assistant. He's senior defensive assistant. That's exactly how it is on the Bills website. Senior defensive assistant Eric Washington. Look, these guys, man. And I hate to be like this, dog, but I have lost a lot of faith in their ability to really assess themselves. It's easy for them to look at the team, look at the players, you know what I'm saying? But to assess themselves, like Sean McDermott hold the mirror up to himself, Leslie Frazier hold the mirror up to himself, Ken Dorsey to himself, and have somebody who hold it up to everybody and be like, look, we're not cutting it. This is not it. This is not it. I need, and that should come from your head coach. He should say, you know what? Yeah, we got a good relationship. Yeah, we boys, but at the end of the day, this is a business. Frazier, you got to go. Dorsey, you know what I'm saying? I know this is your first year, but bro, like you can't cut it. I know Josh Allen wanted you, but at what point does a head coach be a head coach and be like, you know what, Josh, I realize this is what you wanted, but I'm looking out for this offense and this team, okay? And just because it's what you wanted don't mean it's what's good for you and what's good for the team. Right now, he can't cut it. He's holding you back. He's holding the team back. So you got to go too, you know, and they just have to have these conversations, man, and be willing to make these decisions. You know, sometimes moving backwards ain't a bad decision. You know what I'm saying? And people like, what do you mean by moving backwards? I'm not talking about regressing. Sometimes staying the same and being stagnant and being complacent is going to get you backwards. But sometimes, you know, cutting, you know, it's like this. like, I don't know how many botanists we got out here, but people understand, you know what I'm saying? Like just the basics, you know, about trimming the vine and how important it is to trim the vine because it helps the vine grow and be stronger. Sometimes you need to cut some excess off in order to grow. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like Frazier, you look at Frazier and Dorsey, sometimes, bro, it's just time to cut ties, man. It ain't personal. But you may look at it as you're moving backwards, but it's a backwards forward. You're moving backwards. You're cutting rid of these guys so that way you can move forward and grow better as a team. Sometimes that's what it needs to do. But there's so much loyalty at times, man. Especially Sean McDermott. He's loyal to a fault, man. Loyal to a fault. I applaud him for being loyal, but when it's time to cut ties, it's like the man doesn't want to do it. What is it going to take for this guy to really have a gut check and be like, look, this time, and I don't think it's going to happen until Brandon Beam feels some heat, you know what I'm saying, from the Bakulas, and then he comes in and he shares that heat with Sean McDermott. I just don't have a whole lot of faith, man, that they're really going that they're going to do anything significantly different going into this next season.
Let me just add in here,
and let me eat my cookie.
There you go. I'll give you time to eat your cookie. So I'm nowhere near wanting to fire McDermott. Do I think his seat got warmer after this? Yes. If the Bills put up another dud in the playoffs next year, is the seat going to be really warm? You better believe so. So that's why I think he needs to be proactive. And like I said, him and Bean need to be as aggressive this offseason as they were on offense this season and cut ties with someone, whether it's Dorsey or Frazier or both. But I think if McDermott wants to look out for his future, he needs to say, I need to get a new coordinator in here for the next, let's just say 2 years, right? Because I'm thinking that the Bills window is okay. It's always going to be open with Josh Allen, but it's really open for the next 2 years while you have Von Miller under contract, Stephon Diggs while he's still under 30 years old, Micah Hyde's still here. We'll see what happens with Poyer. But the crux of this team is here, right? Josh Allen's in his prime. So I'm saying this window is really open for 2 years. If I'm McDermott, I'm looking at that and saying it hasn't worked for the previous 5 or 6 years, maybe 4 years, because before that, you can't really look at the Tyrod years. So 4 years it hasn't worked in the playoffs. I need to be proactive here and go make a change if I want to think about my future with this team. Because like you said, he's kind of riding that seat right now saying, hey, I got Josh Allen. I'm good. And I'm sure he's not as cool as we're making him out to be. I'm sure he knows. He's not dumb. But if it were me, I would say, look, this might be my last shot to really get this right in terms of getting coordinators in here and whipping these guys into shape. So maybe we should do it now so we can see the rewards in 2 or 3 years. If not sooner.
Go ahead, Silas.
Former defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, Vic Fangio. Who do we know that used to play for the Denver Broncos? Oh, yeah, that's right. The same guy that's trying to bring OBJ here. Can we please fire McDermott and go get Vic Fangio before he ends up in Miami?
Hold on. Fire McDermott or fire Frazier?
I'm going to fire Frazier.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But fire Frazier so we don't have to so we don't lose him to Miami. Like, this is crazy. The graphic is there. It's 36 points and 400 plus yards in the playoffs. I don't care. You can show me DVOA and offensive and defensive rankings and all of these other stats. What do we look like in the playoffs? Now, granted, I'm not even mad that we lost. We didn't compete. And the fact that we didn't compete because we got out-coached, out-schemed, out everything. It's coaching. It's 100% coaching.
It's coaching. And you know what's going to happen? This is what I foresee happening. The Bills are going to look at stats. 13-3 record, right? They're going to look at, we lost, the 3 games by combined 8 points. They're going to look at the game and be like, you know what, just chalk it up to, we made some mistakes, lack of execution, whatever, and they're going to go back to the drawing board. They're going to look at that defensive stats and look at how, because I think even Brandon B may have said something like this, about how good they've been, forgetting the fact that about this graphic, about the playoffs, looking at Ken Dorsey, first year, getting comfortable, first year, And they're going to let these coordinators who are hot right now in the market, who could come in right now and immediately upgrade the coaching on this team, go to another team and be better. And you're going to be stuck with the same guys going in next year thinking that because you got Josh Allen, that everything is going to be all right. You cannot go into next year with Leslie Frazier again. I don't care what the regular season looks like. I'm glad you said this, Alice, because when you get into the playoffs, Leslie Frazier has proven to us what he's all about. And 3 playoff games, you saw the graphic. Do I need to pull it up again? You saw it. That's all that should matter. Forget the regular season. Show me. You're going to show me who you really are when the pressure's on and the biggest stage of your life. In the playoffs, Leslie Frazier and this defense has pooped the bed on coaching. Horrible. Ken Dorsey, too young. I get it. It made sense at the time, but now after assessing the first year, it's not good enough. It's not going to cut it. And I put something up there, man. I thought for sure. I'm looking. I'm like, look, we sitting here with the guy on our team right now, on our coaching staff. A guy by the name of Joe Brady, sitting on our coaching staff. Young guy, right? Maybe some people don't know a whole lot about him, but maybe they have recency bias and they go back to Carolina and they're like, man, he got fired from Carolina after 1 year. Rev, what are you talking about? The guy, couldn't cut it in Carolina. Matt Rule was terrible. Terrible coach, right? Joe Brady is a passing guy. He knows offense, but let's go back a little bit further. Joe Brady back in, I think, 2017. Either 2017 and 2018 or 18 and 19. Anyway, it's 2 years he spent as an offensive assistant under Sean Payton, learning that offense, that passing game offense, that West Coast offense, learning that. Okay, as a matter of fact, I think it's the same offense that we see Zach Taylor running in Cincinnati. But I digress. Anyway, and then he took that offense to LSU in 2019, I think, as a passing game coordinator / wide receiver coach in LSU and won a national championship. Granted, he had some serious weapons on at his helm, right? He had Jamar Chase, he had Justin Jefferson, he had Joe Burrow and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay, that's unfair in and of itself, but the scheme was phenomenal. Okay, got an OC job in 1 year. Went to Matt Rule and the Panthers, and who's a terrible coach, got fired. McDermott picked him up quick, fast, in a hurry as soon as he came available. But at the time, Ken Dorsey had already gotten promoted. So he's sitting here he is sitting on our coaching staff as a quarterback coach. Okay. Meanwhile, you got this rookie first-time coordinator, never coached a day in his life, called a game in a day in his life, looking like this. And you've got Joe Brady already interviewed for the Chargers OC job. Already interviewed for him. I'll tell you right now, if a guy like that, you want to look at innovation and a guy who can shake them things up and who can get Diggs involved, who can get other guys involved in this offense. Joe Brady, you may not have to look too far. You may can just go ahead and make the switch right now, because if he's gone, forget it, because that guy's going to – if you put him in the Chargers offense with Herbert, Allen, Mike Williams, and that's not even including Austin Eckler, that's a nightmare, man. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. And there is, we saw, you guys remember, you guys saw that we all saw that image, about Stephon Diggs on the sideline, right? In the game, put his hands up, looking at Josh and talking. Who was sitting next to him? Who was sitting next to Josh? You had Joe Brady sitting there, but there's an image if you slow it down. Josh Allen didn't look up at Diggs, but Joe Brady kind of looked up and he peeked and he smirked. He had a grin on his face. He had a grin. And if you could caption it, to me, it looked like Joe Brady was like, man, look, I feel you. If I was running this, you'd be eating right now. We wouldn't have had this conversation. You wouldn't be sitting here flailing your arms in disgust. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing that out there. I think Joe Brady, is a guy that could coach circles around a guy like Ken Dorsey, who has next to zero experience calling plays.
Did you guys see my Twitter poll?
I did. You saw about the coaching candidates, right?
Oh yeah, because you retweeted them. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So while we're talking about it, I got 149 votes on this poll, and I said, Bills Mafia, who do you want to be the Bills offensive coordinator next season?
Hold up.
You pulling it up on here?
I'm gonna pull it up. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
trying to find it. You can go ahead and talk about it. I'll pull it up while you're talking.
Okay, so Frank Reich was first at 59%, and obviously that's the thing of the past now. Ken Dorsey was second, 23%, and I put Joe Brady on there as kind of like that dark horse.
Mm-hmm.
Only 9% of the people wanted him, and then
Yeah,
9% said other. So as of right now, again, it's a very small sample size, but people would rather have Dorsey as opposed to Brady. And yeah, there
That's
it is.
crazy.
I'm gonna read the defensive one here real quick. This one's pretty interesting. 134 votes. Brian Flores led the way with 46%. Vic Fangio coming in second with 33%. Leslie Frazier only got 12% of the vote, and then 9% said other. So people are not too in favor of Dorsey and Frazier. And we posted something about that on our page at Buffalo Fanatics, where Bean and McDermott are still getting, I can't remember how we caption it, but people are still in favor of Bean and McDermott. But the approval ratings of Ken Dorsey and Leslie Frazier were very, very low on our polls.
I don't see how and maybe it's just people don't really know a whole lot about it. I get Frank Reich on the offense, right? But how is Ken Dorsey over Joe Brady? What has Ken Dorsey shown? You know what I'm saying? Like that gives you that much confidence over Joe Brady. Man, like I said, maybe it's recency bias. Maybe there's not a whole lot about Joe Brady that people know about. But I'm telling you, this guy already has more experience, way more experience than Ken Dorsey did coming in, right? But I love Joe Brady, man, and I tell you what, he must be doing something. People must know about him because he's got, like I said, he's getting interviewed by the Chargers to be their OC. Meanwhile, we got this guy Ken Dorsey don't know how to freaking. Oh my gosh, man! It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. Again, I don't know, guys. Like I don't know how much confidence I really have in this coaching staff's ability to make the hard decisions. But let me leave it with this question to you guys as we get ready to shut it down, man. We are well over 200 strong, man, and we've been in this thing for over 2 hours and 45 minutes, man. I told you this is gonna be a long one, but we had a whole lot to get off our chest. Silas, wake up, man. Wake up, baby. Wake up. I'm just kidding. Yo, Silas. Okay, let me ask you this question. As we end the show, around the horn, how can the Bills get over the hump? One statement. What is it that the Bills need to do to get over the hump? Kev, I'm gonna start with you.
Well, let's just assume that they don't make a change at coordinator, because as of right now, they're running it back. You know, maybe we'll wake up tomorrow and someone will be fired, or maybe they're just going to continue to scapegoat some more assistants. So let's just say they go into the season. Sean McDermott's the head coach. Ken Dorsey's the offensive coordinator, and Leslie Frazier's defensive coordinator. So offense, they have to use the short to intermediate passing game. That will come back to kill them, as we saw this year. Everything does not have to be a deep shot. They need to get way more conservative on offense and more aggressive on defense. We can't continue to have this soft zone coverage. And again, I know they play nickel defense, but maybe you want to play some 4-3. You know, this is another conversation probably for a different day, but Bills had 6 linebackers this year. I mean, after they drafted Bernard and Spector, they had 6 linebackers because they only played 2 of them. I mean, that's clogging roster spots right there. We didn't even mention Isaiah Hodgins tonight, who could have been a factor on this team. Maybe we did. We've talked so much about it. I'm not sure. So I guess, you know, going to the offseason and free agency, Bean better have the offseason of his life. And for as much as we love Big Baller Bean, his seat is getting a little bit warm. And I don't mean that in terms of like, oh, he could get fired. It's just for the first time in a long time, probably since he traded away Sammy Watkins and Ronald Darby, people are really starting to question Brandon Bean. And another thing that I was going to say earlier was that if the Bills were winning, we wouldn't be questioning his draft picks, right? Over the last few days, I've seen a ton of people saying, oh, Brandon Bean can't draft. He can't draft. But if they would have won on Sunday, we wouldn't be having these conversations. So I don't want to get on Bean too much because I think he's done a great job. That being said, he needs to address the offense this year. We need a wide receiver, if not 2 or 3. and we need to beef up the offensive line. I put a tweet out there earlier about the PFF grades for the Bills' offensive line.
Horrible.
The only one above a 73 was Deion Dawkins. No one else. Spencer Brown, 51.4.
And speaking of Spencer Brown,
he's one of the worst in the NFL.
Worst, awful, terrible. But here you have your GM making excuses for him. He made an excuse for him in that press conference. Now maybe he's just blowing smoke, but he was like, "Yo, man, you got to look at Spencer Brown, and he came from Northern Iowa, and the competition, this and that, and then he got injured, back injury this year, so he didn't really get a chance to get fully healthy and blah blah blah. He didn't have his full offseason, but Northern Iowa. If that's your excuse, then why did you draft the man in the 3rd round? Why you draft him then? If you make it, if you know what 3 years in, is this 3rd year or is this 2nd year? 3rd year?
2nd year.
Second year. And he still hasn't developed. And you're using an excuse because he came from Northern Iowa. Why did you draft the guy in the first place? Why not get somebody who was more ready than him?
Not to mention Roger Saffold, 43.7.
No, he's god awful, man. He was brutal. And I thought Saffold was going to be good for the run game. And
we don't run the ball.
We don't run the ball.
We don't even run.
When you look at the O-line, as bad as they are, bro, like what kind of O-line are they? They're athletic for the most part. Athletic guys who excel in space. You get Mitch Morse pulling pin and pull. You get that guy lead blocking, dominant. You get Deion Dawkins in space, let him run, dominant. Spencer Brown, as bad as he's been, you get that guy moving, very good. Ryan Bates in space, very good. And sometimes even Saffold. But man, look, we don't even do that. We want to run. We want to act like we got a powerhouse offensive line. We want to, Mitch Morris made a comment. I can't remember when it was, but it was in reference to like the O-line, the scheme, and the run game and stuff like that. He said, over the course of his career here, they've had multiple different run schemes every year, from a wide zone to, he said pin and pull initially to wide zone to the zone read. Like, bro, like what is that? Like, what kind of identity are you on offense to be trying to figure things out every single year? You're switching it up, and it's not matching. Like, what matches them is this pin and pull. But anyway, man, like they're not even catering to the strength of the offensive line in the first place. So at this point, I don't know, man. Again, it's coaching, dude. Like when Silas, man, we talked about it before. We talked about the run game, man. You get these guys in space, what happens?
It works. And it works so well. It works so well because you have guys. You drafted guys to run the football that way. You drafted to be able to run the football outside the tackle. You got guys that can make you miss in a phone booth, very shifty and hard to bring down. Devin Singletary, very shifty, very strong, very difficult to bring down in open space. Same thing with James Cook. You draft all of these guys with these high RAS scores. Ryan Bates has a RAS score of like over 9.
Same as Spencer Brown was
Spencer Brown's a perfect 10.
Perfect.
Spencer Brown's a perfect 10 RAS score.
And we're not catering to that. We're not catering to the athleticism.
And that's my point of why we cannot afford to keep these coordinators.
We can't.
Because we know they've had an entire season to see the problems and adjust. And these problems are not new. Even if they won, we would still be talking about how bad of a draft pick AJ Epinesa was when J.K. Dobbins was right there.
Yes.
We'd still be talking about how bad of a draft pick Terrell Bernard was when Dylan Parham was sitting right there. We'd still be talking about how it doesn't make sense that you brought Aaron Cromer in here and the guys on the O-line have regressed.
And you're not even running the ball.
We'd still be talking about how Gabe Davis underperformed. Whether they won or lost, it would still be the same problem. Somebody brought up Tim Settle. I don't even remember the last time I remember Tim Settle making a play. It was the preseason against Indianapolis when he threw Quentin Nelson out the way like he was a 140-pound kid. He just tossed him out the way.
Yep.
I haven't seen that guy make a play since. What do we have him for?
But Eric Washington is your D-line coach / senior defensive assistant.
Bro.
You guys want to know his stats this year?
Like his name is
Yeah, go ahead,
Zach Moss used to be.
Oh.
So Tim Settle this year, 15 games played. He had 19 total tackles, 1 sack.
And Settle's a good player, man. He's a good player. I like Settle. Dude, it's the coaching, man. It's coaching, dude. Like, come on, fam. Like, now, granted, do we need to add some more personnel, some more players? Like, do I think we need to get beefier on the interior of the defensive line? Yes, absolutely. But look, if you're not coaching them up, it's like, yo, why am I going to hand you these? You know what I'm saying? Like the keys to the Ferrari, and I can't trust you with a Pinto, fam. Like you can't even take care of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get it, bro. Like so at this point, to me, it's like it doesn't even matter. Like who I don't even want to talk about the type of players and who and draft picks. I don't want to talk about none of that stuff until you show me the coaches. Show me the coaches who's going to coach these guys up first. You know what I'm saying? But if it's the same bunch of guys that's been here, you know, the good old boys, you know what I'm saying? And Sean McDermott, then I'm telling you right now, man, we're going to be having the same conversation.
There's no way Eric Washington survives the offseason. There's no way. There's no way, Eric. There's no way they can look at this team and say, yeah.
Von Miller said he don't want nobody to go. Nobody. He said, I don't want nobody to go.
I'm sorry. Von Miller got to be quiet. Like, go cash your check, dog, and be quiet. These dudes got to go. They gotta go, man. Like, and somebody brought up, and Steve that was in here earlier brought up some stats about Vic Fangio and all of that. All right, I get you. Vic Fangio is allowed to play 10 yards off the line of scrimmage because he has guys that are actually going to cover that ground and make tackles. Yeah. The guys in the secondary in Denver, they all tackle very, very well. Extremely and he had the benefit of Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb on that defense for the better part of this season.
And then you got Patrick, and then you got Surtain too. Come on now.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, you can play off coverage when you got dominant pass rushers and guys on the outside that can click and close and tackle. You can do that. And it only got figured out because the offense didn't score. That's exactly why I got figured out. And when Bradley Chubb left, that's when they started to get exposed. Yep. But if you don't like him, fine. Get Lovie Smith in here. Lovie Smith is an aggressive defensive mind.
Yep.
Fine. I'm tired of watching Frazier sit back and just allow people to do whatever they want.
A question for you, Silas. Question is, as far as defense is concerned. So you know this is going to be tough for a defensive-minded head coach like Sean McDermott to go outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you think Sean McDermott is going to find somebody who runs a similar scheme? Or do you think he'd be willing to go out the box and find somebody who would run something that's completely different than he's used to and be willing to let him do it, even if it's better?
I don't think there's anything wrong with the scheme.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's wrong. I
think them 10 yards of cushion.
That's the problem. Like, it's the philosophy. The philosophy behind the scheme is wrong. The nickel is fine. I don't care about. We could play nickel all day long because I think Taron Johnson is that good. I think that we have rangy enough linebackers in Milano and Edmonds to cover a large amount of field in the middle, a large amount of space in the middle of the field and make things very difficult. We need to get younger and more aggressive at safety. We need to get a younger guy to replace Poyer that's going to come down and make short tackles in the box and still has enough speed to take that second half. Because I'm not worried about Micah Hyde.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about him at all. He's going to do that.
Well, you know they're putting Christian Benford at safety. They're gonna try to test that out.
Man, I think that's a bad move, but whatever. That's what they want to do. That's fine. I'm good with it. If you move Benford to safety, that's fine as long as you still draft a safety to replace Micah Hyde.
Well, that lets me know that they're gonna tender Dane Jackson. They're gonna bring him back. If they got intentions on moving Benford to safety, you got Kyrie Elam. And then you got Dane Jackson on RFA contract. They're gonna bring it back.
Yeah, let's keep another 4'6" corner. That's perfect. 4'6", 5'11", perfect. What could be wrong with that when we're going up against Jamar Chase at 6'2" and T Higgins at 6'5"? Yeah, perfect. That makes a lot of sense. Guys. Like we gotta change the personnel. If you're gonna run a nickel, you're gonna have a light box. You gotta get your version of Quinnen Williams in the middle. You gotta get another speed edge guy off the edge because Von Miller is going to be like 34. Like he's old.
Not coming back until like late.
That's what I'm saying. He's old. You got to get another speed guy to learn. You got to get another speed guy to come in and take it. That's going to eventually take over. Yeah. And you got to get faster and bigger at the outside corner position. Yeah. There are guys that are big. There are guys that are 6 foot plus, 6 feet, and they run very fast. Please go get those guys.
Silas, do you know what? Go ahead, Gav. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, how much do you want to add to the defense when I think the offense needs to be a priority and the Bills don't have a lot of cap?
I think well, I mean, Kev, we could talk about this in a space later, but it's a long, it's a drawn out explanation. But the short version, the Cliff Notes version of it is trade guys that are not playing well, trade guys that have potential to be better, and they're not playing well in this system. Get them out of here. And get more picks, and I would even be open to trading out of the first round.
Yeah,
and trading back into early second.
Yep.
In general, this offseason, do you want to see the Bills address offense or defense more?
I want them to go after a lot of offense. I want 3 new receivers, 3, and one of them is Paris Campbell from the Indianapolis Colts. I want 3 new receivers, 2 rookies, Paris Campbell, Shakir, and Stephon Diggs.
Yep. Then you sprinkle Gabe in, and then he'll be all right as a 3 or 4.
I ain't sprinkling Gabe in.
You know what I'm saying?
We could turn Gabe into a day 2 pick.
Oh, I would love that. I'll be all for it. I really would. After this, man, I'd be. I can't defend a 50% catch rate. I just can't do it. And a guy who can't really run routes, I can't defend that much longer.
Dude, Ed Alves is going to make $10.5 million.
It can go. Trade him now. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of him now. And you were talking about getting speed on the edge at cornerback,
corner and defensive end.
There was a guy. I don't know if you know him. I don't know if you heard about him. There's a guy that came out of somewhere in San Antonio. Pretty big. I mean, because like Brandon Beane, he loves these traitsy guys, right? When you look at Tremaine Edmonds, these big, long, rangy, athletic guys, and then you got Greg Rousseau, big, long, rangy, athletic guy, Josh Allen, big, run. This year we were pounding the table for a cornerback. We needed the cornerback too for Trey White. You know what I'm saying? Sean McDermott said we need to add speed on both sides of the ball. Here come the draft. There's this guy out of San Antonio, man. Big, long, rangy, fast, 6'3", 6'4", 215, sub 4.3 40 guy burning. Tariq Woolen. We passed him. Didn't even 5th round draft pick. We looked at that guy and be like, yeah, nah, he's not a fit. What are we doing? What are we doing? And meanwhile, this guy, what like the year he had, Sal, you know some of the numbers that this guy put up this year.
I think he was the 3rd highest rated rookie defensive back in the NFL, right behind Sauce and Kohu out of Miami. Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, he had a good year.
Yeah, he was all right, huh? Not bad. Not bad. Not bad for a rookie. Got time on the field. Rookie from UTSA, small school. Not in the big school, but small school. The guy ran out the gym. Sub 4'3", 6'4", 215. Big, strong corner. You're in a division against Tyreek Hill, one of the fastest guys in the NFL. You need speed. This guy is a Tyreek Hill eraser. He may not be as quick and shifty, but dadgummit, 6'4", 215, long arms, sub 4'3". Tyreek ain't getting by. There's a lot of ground. Tyreek ain't getting by that, fam. And we just let that guy go.
Red, not only that, but like he he was a former wide receiver. So if anybody knows how to cover
yes,
a wide receiver, and where
Yeah.
have we seen that work at before?
the
I don't
Dallas?
know.
Trayvon
Yeah,
Diggs,
yeah. So,
something like
some
that,
kid
right?
named Diggs.
Some Diggs, right? Yeah, brother
some
of another
Diggs
Diggs.
kid.
Yeah.
Bro, like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Meanwhile, we draft Kyrie Elam. No shade to Kyrie Elam. We draft him out of Florida, press man cover guy, right? He's fast.
And we don't even play
And
him.
we don't even play him.
Bro, I'm telling you, I am ready to be at One Bills Drive with the pitchforks, tar and feather. If Eric Washington makes it out of this freaking off season, I'm telling you, something has to burn. A car, a crate, something has to go on fire. A table.
Yeah,
something.
we need to go throw some tables at One Bill Drive and set them on fire. Set them ablaze, man. Set them ablaze. Yo, I got to end it, man. We've been 3 hours at it, man. I told y'all we've been here for a long time, man, and we got a lot to get off our chest.
3 hours too.
We really could, but we got to shut it down, man. We got to shut it down. And so, with that being said, I'm gonna go around the horn, man. If anybody has any final words, man, last remarks, you guys can go ahead and say that. Kevin, man, you got anything to say as we get ready to head on out?
Yeah, I mean, I think I already answered this, but it led to many different roads. So let me just condense your last question.
All right.
For the Bills to get over the hump, here is what I think they have to do. First of all, they need to shake up in the coaching staff, whether that's firing Eric Washington for Whittle and for us, or firing Dorsey or Leslie Frazier. That remains to be seen. That's the first step. Number two, Brandon Beane and his staff have to get more weapons and more protection for Josh Allen. We need to add to the offense. For the coaching, they need to put their players in the best positions possible and utilize the strengths of the players on their team. And we didn't really talk about this, but all the game management and the timeouts and the challenges that we've seen from McDermott over the years, and they kind of came to a head this year too. And then whoever they bring in as offensive coordinator, whether it's Ken Dorsey or someone else, and defensive coordinator, whether it's Leslie Frazier or someone else, I want to see more balance here. For offense, they have to just take what the defense gives them. They can't go for the home run every single time. You're okay if you hit a single. You're allowed to hit a double. You're allowed to hit a triple. Those are great. Defense, I just need to see some more something. I mean, I need to see more in the playoffs, because the regular season is fine and dandy, but step your game up in the playoffs. You know, we can't see this soft coverage anymore. So in a nutshell, that is what I think this team needs to do to get over the hump. I mean, there's a lot, but I think it starts from the top down, and I really don't want to see them go from the bottom up and fire these assistants. I want them to seriously evaluate and be honest, like they say in their press conferences, and say, Leslie Frazier, I'm sorry, but 107 points and 1,400 yards over our last 3 playoff losses is not going to cut it.
Let me help you out again, Kevin. Let me help you out. Yeah. Y'all look at that. Yeah. 107 points, 1,400 yards allowed, and 3 playoff losses. Silas is doing the same thing. Yo, face palm. Look, for me, so I'm going to go ahead. Silas, I can probably speak for you. You know what I'm saying? For the both of us. I don't want to see Ken Dorsey, and I don't want to see Leslie Frazier. No more. Get him out of here.
And Eric Washington.
Get him out of here. Eric Washington's going to go with him. You know what I'm saying? And Charmander, you better not pull a fast one. You better not try to promote Eric Washington. No. Clean house. I want a new OC, new DC. Get rid of Eric Washington. You may leave some of those position coaches, but bring in some guys who are seasoned vets, proven success. Get these guys installed in the team right now, because look, your seat is going to be hot real quick. Dorsey, got to go. I don't care that Josh likes you. Who cares? None of that matters at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Frazier, hey, you've had a good run at it, man. Hey, you're not getting a head coaching job, especially after this performance. So you got to go, man. Enjoy retirement, whatever the case is. I don't know, man. Enjoy. I don't know, but you got to go. You've had a good run. It's time to go. Eric Washington, don't even think about put your name in that hat, because you're going to. It starts right there for me. And then we can begin to talk about players and personnel and bringing in all that. But right now, it's coaching. because coaching has screwed us up for the past 3 years. You've seen it. Look at it again. Here it is. Look at it. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. And I wish I had a Ken Dorsey graphic, but he wasn't in here long enough. But he looked terrible. Absolute garbage. That's my thing. Silas, if you want to add to that, you can.
Yeah, I just want to say, Bills Mafia, keep your head up. I know that this was very, negative. But when you love something, you should love it enough to be able to criticize it and tell it the truth. And we love the Buffalo Bills, so we're telling the Buffalo Bills the truth. Keep your head up. We will be back next year. We still have the Winter Soldier. We still have Josh. We still have Josh Allen. We still have Stephon Diggs. Von Miller will be back. Micah Hyde will be back. They better re-sign Tremaine Edmonds. We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back. But there's some work to do in the offseason. So keep your head up. We'll be fine. We'll get past this. Go Bills.
Yo, and real quick, I've got something I want to add, because I was talking about daggone, man, it got to be MP4. We're talking about graphics for Ken Dorsey. I got something, and I want to. This is so funny, man. Where did I find this clip at, man? Golly, somebody got to find it. Here it is, right here. Let me see. Did it pull up? Check this out. This is what Evan Harrington posted. Yo,
Pretty
Evan
much.
put this up. That's the Bills' offense this year, man. Look at that creativity.
I know that play on Madden, man. If you shift the tight end over, man, I'm telling you, the slot guy is wide open against zone coverage, man. I promise.
Yo, man, that's crazy, man. I need you guys to kind of commentate, man, and talk about that play right there, because there's actually a clip. I'm trying to find it, so I want you guys to talk about it.
Rev, we run this in the red zone. We run this from the 2-yard line. I'm telling you, that's the play they did. Jesus Christ!
Oh man!
Oh gosh!
That's what they did, man.
Yo, I will never forget first and goal from the 2-yard line in Miami.
Yeah. And
we lined up in shotgun and didn't run the ball. Oh my God, man.
I've got it. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. I'm gonna share. This is so funny. All right, don't forget this play. Look at this play. Everybody who's in the chat, look at this play. You see that play right there? That Madden play. You see it? All right. I'm gonna keep
That's
it.
The whole playbook. That's the playbook.
That's the playbook. We laughing about it, right? Like that's the Bills' offense. Yo, no, for real. Like, they for real about it. Check this out. Can y'all see my screen?
Oh my God, bro. Oh my God.
Look. Check it out. They actually ran that play. They ran that play. Now they connected to Gabe Davis down there. They got lucky and connected to Gabe. But that's the exact offense. That's the exact same play. Look, there it is right there. Check it out. Shout out to the guys. Shout out to the guys from Air Raid Hour, man. They put this out in the playoffs. This is what Ken Dorsey decided to do. I think he's playbook. I think he goes to Madden and he's like, "Yo, let me take that. Let me take that. Let me take this." And this is the playbook right here. Unfreaking believable, man.
Yo, we needed like 8 yards on that play.
Look at that.
He dialed up a play for 3rd and 19.
Look at that. And then you got Dawson running around here, and he's running. He runs routes like keep on. And when he runs, he's like looking at the quarterback the whole way. I don't know what's up with that. But bro, like you want to blame Diggs and everybody, bro? Like what do you expect them to do? They run in the plays that are called. This is it. And you say, oh, well, Diggs up top, and then you got the safety kind of peeking. Well, fam, what else is he going to do with this play? This is it. And then Josh throws right into double coverage right here. Like this play's garbage, man. It worked.
But Rev, let me add something.
This ain't what you need.
Rev, let me add something to this. We're watching this play, and you see what that pass had to be perfect because you have a corner in trail position and the safety providing help in each half over the top.
Like you see, it's covered too. You see that right here? Here he goes. Look at that. and he barely got it. Let's look at the other routes. You got here's Knox. Yeah, no, no, nothing. What about the slot here? I think this is that Cole. Yeah, there's nothing there. You got Diggs at the top of the screen. He gets open. It's the same route as Gabe. And then you look at the bottom of the screen. And you look at I don't know if this is Motor, if this is Cook coming out the backfield. Like what? That's the most basic vanilla crap I've ever seen.
No motion,
game.
no nothing.
And yes, Kev, thank you for a freaking playoff game. This is the garbage that he did. And where's that, Kevin? How many people in your poll said that they wanted Ken Dorsey? Like 20-something%?
23%.
23%.
You people are crazy. There's no way. There's no way.
Rev, did you see that one play? I thought that was a play when you pulled it up. I included it in my article if you want to pull that up, where it was that 3rd and 2 to Davis, and he had Dawson Knox open underneath, where if he would have let him perfectly, it would have been a nice catch and run. But instead, they forced it down the field to Davis. And again, that goes back to everything that we've said this year, where, first of all, it's Dorsey's fault for calling that play in the first place, but then Josh doesn't have to throw to Davis just because that's called. I mean, throw to the open guy, right? So he's got to recognize that Knox is going to be open if he leads him in the right spot. But it all starts from up top with Dorsey. Why are we running those post routes when it's 3rd and 2?
Let me see if I can find it. I'm pulling it up right here. Oh man, this is so mind-boggling. Again, like Sada said, man, like we don't mean to be negative, but this is it. We asked the question earlier, like who are the Buffalo Bills? This is them. It's been masked by a 13-3 record and Josh Allen going bananas and taking over the team. But this is it. This is who they are. They got exposed. And we've been seeing this all year. They've just been able to find a way to win, and we overlooked the fact that they've been looking like this for half of the season.
This is
Rev,
what you're seeing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, I just want to say, while you're pulling this up, I don't want to get sidetracked. If you're.
Did you get frozen? Kev froze. Go ahead, Silas. What were we saying?
Yeah, what I was going to say is like the reason why we were in so many tight games this year is because of this type of stuff. Like this is the offense. The defense has been good.
Quentin Morris was another big name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, hold on, Kev. Yeah, Kev, you went out for a second, man. So Silas came on in. So I'm gonna let Silas go ahead and finish his thought, and then I'm gonna go back to you, Kev.
My point is like,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. My point is, we were 13-3 with the number 2 scoring offense, number 2 in yards, and all that good stuff. With this type of play calling, imagine if we had a competent OC that schemed up things properly. Imagine how good this team could actually be. Imagine what the record would be like that. 13 wins, we probably would have won 15 or 16.
Yeah. And that's why I don't understand people like getting nervous and scared about getting rid of coaches. And then when they want to say, oh well, you can't have a you can't keep having a revolving door, and year in and year out, bro. Like we ain't talking about that. Like if a guy is not, if he ain't cutting it, he just not cutting it. You know what I'm saying? And you got talent like this. All you need is somebody competent. And if we were to, and this is where it goes back to the whole like desperation, drought Bills era fans. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're so desperate to hold on to something because you're afraid that you're not going to get anything as good as that. Look, Josh Allen is the draw on this team. Just Josh Allen. He is it. He is the carrot. Josh Allen is the draw. Not one coach on this team, not one of them is more valuable than Josh Allen right now. If you know what I'm saying? So if you got rid of a Ken Dorsey, you mean to tell me that you're not going to have quality offensive coordinators, candidates, banging down Brandon Beane's doors? Brandon Beane ain't got to call nobody. These people are going to be coming to him trying to get a chance and an opportunity to coach a guy like Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and the rest of his offense. And you're scared of losing a guy like Ken Dorsey? You're scared of losing a defensive coordinator like Leslie Frazier? And you got Tremaine Edmonds. You got all these. Come on, man. Like, what are you talking about here? Let these guys go, and you see how many people come? How many people come knocking down the door trying to get a chance to score? And that goes back to Sean McDermott too. Coaching too comfortable. He don't really understand how fortunate he is right now. And he better coach like his life depends on it and his career depends on it. I've got that play, Kevin. I got that play pulled up. Yeah, let me go ahead and share the screen, man.
Stat that I was going to bring up, and I saw someone just brought it up in the comments. Shout out to Terrence. He said, "Didn't we give Knox that bag this year?" Can you hear me, or did I cut out? Okay,
no, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I put in my article. Do you guys know that there were 13 games this year where Knox had less than 5 receptions? 13 games. And he's paid like a top 5 tight end. And then on top of it, going back to my Quentin Morris point, he was flashing during training camp, right? Like he beat out O.J. Howard. He beat out Tommy Sweeney. Quentin Morris had two tight end sets. Aaron Cromer, offensive line, protection for Josh. Where was Quentin Morris this year? 8 receptions. Reggie Gilliam, 8 receptions. No rushing attempts.
It's ridiculous, man. Here's that play. Let me see if it's going to. This is frustrating, dude. This is frustrating. They're not.
This is like watching Ken Dorsey make adjustments to the game. It just doesn't happen.
They don't want to play.
Perfect.
It just doesn't happen. You just spin around in circles. Yeah, you know, you want things to work, but it's just not working. Yeah, it won't work. I don't know, man. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And see, Ken Dorsey. This is it. This is Ken Dorsey and Leslie Frazier. Stuff just doesn't work. Doesn't work out. But yeah, man. I mean, like Knoxville, like it's not his fault. The design of the offense, and then also, you know, he spends a lot of his time trying to help out trash Spencer Brown and Chippen because he can't do his job by himself. So anyway, long story short, man. Look, the Bills, and let's try to end it on somewhat of a positive note, man. The Bills got a lot of work to do in the offseason. They have a whole lot of work to do, but it starts with having these conversations, man, with themselves about the direction of this team, and they can't be blinded and be intoxicated by records or by stats. Throw all that crap out the window. Look at when it matters the most. That's the stat you need to look at when it matters the most. Okay, get your players involved. Get their insight. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And let's be honest and real about our assessment, not of just the players, but the coaches. The coaches. What is it going to take for us to get over the hump and actually finally get into the Super Bowl and be that team that we all believe that we can be? Some changes are going to have to be made. Not these little small scapegoat changes. You may have to make some big boy changes. Sean, I'm looking at you, and be willing to do it for the sake of the betterment of this team. Will he do it? That's to be determined. Okay? But from now, man, we'll just see. We shall just see. Shout out to everybody, man, who's been with us. Yo, this has been a long show, man. Over 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours long, man. But you guys have been still. We got over 200 still in here. So that lets me know that you guys, you know, are right there with us. You're feeling what we're talking about. This is something that's been on your chest and on your heart as well. And we couldn't do this without you. So shout out to you all, man. Smash that like on your way out the door. Hit the subscribe button if you have not already done so. Silas, real quick, man, as we go out, man, let everybody know where they can find you, what you're doing.
Hey, man, you can check me out on Twitter, at Whittle2K. During the off season, I'm going to be putting together some draft stuff. I'm going to be going over different position groups and, you know, highlighting certain players that the team should be looking at. So if you want to follow that, you want to join in the conversations, we do Twitter Spaces. We do Twitter Spaces like every day, but if you want to come in and join and listen or join in the conversations, definitely can. It's at Whittle2K. It's right there on the screen. So check me out and go Bills.
Go Bills. Kev?
That's my Twitter handle right there at KSyracuse5. And like I said, when I came on, this stuff is therapeutic for me. So you will be seeing a lot more of me. I hope that's a good thing. But Rev, thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it. I might be coming on some more of these shows in the future. Definitely going to go hard with the roster build, free agency, the draft. Like I said in my post today, like the season may be over, but we're just getting started with content here at BF. So be on the lookout for that. And, you know, I want to end on something positive here because I think – if you're a true Buffalo fan, we can all get behind this team. The Sabres are a wagon. The Sabres are hot. And I'm going to fill the rest of my time when I'm not doing scouting and stats and research on the Bills by going hard with the Sabres, because last I saw, they were 3 points out of the playoffs. They won tonight, so they might have even closed that gap. But it's not so dark in Buffalo as we think.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Richard Forbes says, yo, thanks for the therapy. No doubt, Richard. That's what we're here for, man. That's what we wanted to provide today, man. We had to have a lot of hard conversations, man, but I think it's beneficial. It helps us kind of get over it. And even for myself, man, having this conversation with Whittle and Kev and the rest of you and everybody who joined, even with Steve and Ransom, like this helped me kind of get over this loss. There's still a whole lot left to be done, right, in the off season. I'm still not ready for it, but it is what it is, man. I got hope and aspirations for this team. I think they can do it. It's just a matter of, are they willing to do whatever it takes to get over the hump? And you got to be willing to do it. If it means cutting ties with some of your good buddies, then so be it. But we can't waste Josh Allen's prime because, you're too loyal to your coaches. You can't do it. You can't do it because he's a generational talent, and those guys don't grow on trees. So they better make some decisions right now real quick and try to capitalize on this window while it's barely open right now. Because you can look at the East. I'll tell you right now, next year, man, it's going to be a little tighter than we thought. It really is. So we'll check them out, man. We're going to be here. We ain't going nowhere. We're not jumping out the window. We're just being real and being hard and being very critical, but we still love the Bills with everything within us. But that's it, man. That's all I got for you guys. So stick with us. Be here with us tomorrow. He's going to be here. I'm going to follow. Yeah, all off season long. It's going to be a long off season, but we're going to be bringing you a whole lot of content. Follow my man Silas Whittle at Whittle2K. Follow my man Kev Syracuse at KSyracuse5. Follow me at Rated Rev, baby. And as always, you already know what time it is, baby. Grace and peace. God bless and go Bills. See you next time.